them go show. Them go show themselves clear, them go show. Them go show, them go show most sick people. Them go show themselves clear, them go show. Them go show, them go show. Them go show themselves clear, them go show. Them go show, them go show almost sick people. Them go show themselves clear, them go show. Anywhere them day,
them go show.
Anywhere you day,
them go show.
Them go show themselves,
them go show.
Opposite people,
them go show.
Anywhere them day,
them go show.
Anywhere you day,
them go show.
Them go show themselves,
them go show.
Opposite people,
them go show.
Everyone they dance for enjoyment. Everyone they talk for communication. Everyone they hear for ideology. Everyone they think for in progress. Everyone they dance for enjoyment. Everyone they talk for communication. Everyone they hear for ideology. Everyone they think for him progress. And now, but look he don't show himself. Opposite people, I say, look he don't show himself. Opposite people, I say, look he don't show himself. Opposite people, I say, look at the thing, he don't show himself. Everyone they dance, him go push. Everyone they talk, him go shout. Everyone they hear, him go sleep. Everyone they think, him go drink. Everyone they dance,
him go push.
Everyone they talk,
him go shout.
Everyone they hear,
him go sleep.
Everyone they think,
him go drink.
Everyone they dance,
him go push.
Everyone they
him go shout.
Everyone they hear,
him go sleep.
Everyone they think,
him go drink.
Everyone they dance,
him go push.
Everyone they talk,
him go shout.
Everyone they hear,
him go sleep.
Everyone they think, him go see. He don't show himself.
He go the shakara, he go the kata kata, he go the shakara.
They don't show themselves.
He go the shakara, he go the kata kata, he go the shakara.
Opposite people,
He go the shakara, he go the kata kata, he go the shakara.
they don't show themselves. He go the shakara, he go the kata kata. He go the shakara, kata kata put them together. He go the shakara, he go the kata kata. Opposite people, he go the shakara, he go the kata kata. He go the shakara, kata kata put them together. Opposite people, he go the shakara, they don't show themselves.
team. International team. International team.
ITT.
International team.
International team.
International team. International team. International team.
ITT.
International team.
International rook.
International team.
Hey.
International team. International team. International team. International team.
Hello, check 1 2 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2
punish me. If I they punish me, the money punish me. Kill and they punish me. I read that for book you. I see some myself you. Welly, you. Well. Welly, you. Well. That's true, I want to get you. Find the lie you. Go see punish me. Money punish me. Kill and they punish me. If I they punish me. I read that for book you. I see some myself you. I see some myself you. Well. Welly, you. Well. Long time ago. Long time ago. Long time ago. African man will not they carry shit. They shit inside big hole. Yoruba land in a Shalanga. Igbo land in a Unusi. For Hausa land in a Salunga. For Ghana land in a Tiafi. Ashanti land in a Yani. For Ethiopia land in a Sagrabet. For Kikuyu land in a Chocho. For Bemba land in a Chimbuzi. For Tunga land in a Ichibuzi. Long time ago. African man will not they carry shit. We they shit inside big hole. Long time ago. Long time ago. Before them come force us away as slaves. During the time them come force us away as slaves. European man na him they carry shit. For them culture to carry shit. During the time them come colonize us. Them come teach us to carry shit. Long time ago. African man we know they carry shit. European man teach us to carry shit. Many foreign companies they Africa carry all our money go. Many foreign companies they Africa carry all our money go. Them go write big English for newspaper. Dabaru we Africans. Go write big English for newspaper. Dabaru we Africans. I read about one of them inside book like that. Them calling him na ITT. I read about one of them inside book like that. Them calling him na ITT. Them go they cause confusion, cause corruption, cause oppression, cause inflation. Them go they cause oppression, cause confusion, cause corruption, cause inflation, cause oppression, cause confusion, cause inflation, cause oppression, inflation, corruption, oppression, inflation. Them get one style way them they use. Them go pick one African man, a man with low mentality. Them go give ya $1,000,000 bread to become of high position here. Him go bribe some $1,000 bread to become one useless chief. Like rat they do them loaded from corner, passy, passy, side, passy, in, passy, out, passy, in, passy, corner, passy, under, passy, side, passy, up, passy, corner, passy, under, passy, side, then he gradually, then he gradually, them go be friend to journalist, friend to commissioner, friend to permanent secretary, friend to minister, friend to head of state, that start to steal
know the problem. Yeah, it's showing the what do you call it very well. It's showing the stage properly.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Our parents were born in Africa, and we are born in Jamaica. But every day, some people are talking like they are born in Africa. But we are African, born in Jamaica. African, born in Jamaica.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to welcome you to the second outing of the Speaker's Corner. Speaker's Corner traditionally is taken from, was modeled after the Speaker's Corner in London, where people mount a soapbox like this and essentially talk about what pains them. But I think collectively Nigerians have a lot that pain them. We all have a lot to vent about. We're all victims of this circumstance. Mr. Ivo Ekpe has agreed to help us host this forum at great risk to his personal self. He ventures all the way from parts unknown and travels into Lagos because his location has to be kept a secret after events like this. Please, you're all welcome to grab a mic and talk whenever you feel you need to interrupt his diatribe. But listen, there are some guiding rules. Freedom Park, you're free to express yourself in any which way you want, but don't assault our host. Please do not touch him.
He's wearing white. Don't
touch him, he's wearing white. I mean, and let's try to be polite. Don't call Jonathan the goat, please. He's our president. Just let's keep it level. Let's keep it on the level. Yeah? Keep it civil. Okay? No violence. Period. Say anything else but no violence, especially against the host. Thank you very much. Welcome to prison.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. First of all, let me once again say that what we have attempted to start here at Freedom Park, and this is the very second edition, is to create a platform whereby we do what we always do. We ordinarily talk about everything, we talk about everyone, and we talk everywhere. But one of the joys of talking is actually having somebody listening to you. I think you begin to have a problem when you start talking and nobody is listening. However, some people make an art of it and they can talk endlessly. Our first edition, which was exactly a month ago, was a pleasant surprise. Not so much because we didn't plan it, but because of the amount of interest it generated, the amount of participation for those who were here, and I can see some faces who were here the last time, and I'm hoping that it's because they enjoyed it so much the last time they've decided to come back this time. But Freedom Park is not about just our own individual freedoms, but about the collective freedoms of Nigerians as a whole. That's why the Speaker's Corner is about talking about Nigerians as a whole. But we all have individual things that we like, don't like, are curious about, or would want answers to. The opportunity to air such views has now come up. And similarly, Speaker's Corner is not about me. I just happen to have been bullied into handling this. But there will be a format to it. And that format will invite any individual, anybody who wants to talk about anything on any subject, as long as that subject and that issue is a prevalent one. It's happening at the moment, and it concerns all of us. So you will feel free. But I have the burden right now of handling the first two editions, maybe just to bed it in, so we all get used to it. I am indeed really, really honored to do that. Now, another difference from the last time when we gathered is that tonight, more people who are not here are actually listening to us and watching us. So there is a bit of a difference. We are streaming this particular event live over the internet. Because from the last time that we had Speaker's Corner, so many people, so many Nigerians, so many people interested in Nigerian affairs who are not even in Lagos and not even in Nigeria approached us and said, we want to be able to see this, we want to be able to participate in it. And so, gladly, tonight will then be the test run of our first live broadcast. But don't be shy. There is nobody that you wouldn't want to see you that is likely to see you or hear you. Now, from the last time we met, a lot has happened. The last time we were here, I think we were having a great argument on whether money was missing or not missing. We were having a big debate on whether, and there was a certain gentleman that kept calling Jesus. Is he here tonight? Okay, he's back. And just be wary of him. Before you make 2 sentences, Jesus will be called into this matter. But there is a seriousness to all of this. Because we believe that whether in peacetime or in wartime, our country is our own and we have an opinion. You see, the man of God has come and suddenly a whole revival has started over there. So, and we all have different opinions on each matter. I am sure that if I said to you, how many people actually are aware of the last controversies surrounding the governor of Adamawa State? You know something about that. A few people may have read his message to the Northern Governors Forum. That message stirred up a lot of opinions. That message called for the man to be hung upside down, swung from Mambila Plateau, and probably given away to the Cameroonians. Oh, talking about Cameroonians, has the Lamido Adamawa moved yet? He hasn't gone yet. Okay. I did suggest that he may take Senator Florence Itagiwa and Bakassi with him, but I know when I get back home, she's going to really beat me for that statement. But seriously, there's a national conference going on. Hey, I haven't heard anything. Yeah, they haven't. Have they said anything lately?
No, they're still sleeping.
They're sleeping.
They're sleeping.
How they're going to do what? Oh, that's the latest debate, what they're going to serve for lunch. Okay. So, how many people think that our leaders take responsibility or show responsibility? Is anybody aware of what happened in South Korea and the ferry that sank and the prime minister that resigned? And the president of South Korea who came up today on World News to apologize to the families because they did not react on time and they have not handled the matter well. Very nice of her, isn't it?
Oh, yes.
I bet if she was Nigerian, she would do the same. I'm sure she will do the same. I'm sure. Oh, you don't think our leaders apologize? Oh, by the way, I gather that the National Assembly is being asked not to continue any probe into any use of any private jets by anybody. I'm sorry? Oh, they've been sued. So an arm of the executive has been sued. Both arms. That must be a powerful person that can sue both arms of our legislature. Now, seriously, but I have one pet peeve. You can have yours. You can choose to come up. Whoever gets to speak here has the opportunity of being questioned. And you have the opportunity to participate. My only question in the last 1 month has been, where are my 200 girls? Where are my girls from Chibok? I am not a very happy man, simply because, real or imagined, I cannot get my head round how you pick up 200 girls and walk away. 11 to 14 days now. Any news? And we're all happy with that. Something must be fundamentally wrong. Do you know what 200 people is? If you put 200 people sitting here right now, some people will not be able to breathe. So you need space for 200 people. Let's just look at the numbers. Then do you know what do you realize rather, what it means to walk 200 people out of Freedom Park? If they rush, Theo Lawson, you will have a problem. If you don't move them orderly, in an orderly manner, you will have a problem. Can somebody explain to me how you move 200, even if it's 100? Because you see, we've argued this thing about, is it 75, 59, 100, 120, 30? I don't care anymore. One child, sir, that's bad enough for you. 100, there is a fundamental problem somewhere. 100 for 1 week, 2 weeks. My favorite targets lately have been from my own profession. And I'm never afraid to say that the media has embarrassed me personally. That's my own industry sector. How come I am reading about what is happening in my country more from other people than from my own media? And then tomorrow you, sir, will accuse me of listening to Al Jazeera when, hey, I'm asking you, where is my own reporter? Do I have a choice? I don't. So let me get my news from wherever I can get it. And let me draw my own deductions as I please. You know why? Because no official is going to stand up and tell me exactly what is happening to my 200 girls. Oh, and by the way, they're my girls. For only one reason. They are Nigerian girls. You see, I often say that I don't care very much for adults. They can take care of themselves. They can find a way in, they can find a way out. They can talk themselves into trouble, and they can talk themselves out of trouble. But two demographics I do not toy with are children and elderly people, people who are vulnerable. When am I likely to see the girls? I don't want to imagine what is happening to those girls right now. I don't want to imagine if anyone is alive. I don't want to imagine if one has been touched. I don't want to imagine what their parents are going through. And then when I look at pictures of my own daughters, I don't even want to think about it. I will burn the country if you touch my children.
All right, Ivan, can we respond? Can we speak?
I have my microphone. I'll give you yours when
All
it's
right,
time.
thanks. Okay.
But I really need to get this through. The lack of information, the question I've been asked, what are their names? Where are their pictures? I agree. However, let's put that in context. Where is this place? Are those people likely to just have pictures lying around? Is our media reaching out to them to find out? Where are the other pictures coming from? The pictures of the governor going there, the pictures of the parents, supposedly. At one point, we have to say it to ourselves, we cannot keep asking these questions again. We can only assume that this event has taken place. Why? Because nobody has come out to say it has not. And I agree with you, a lot of parties have not done their work. Starting again with my media has not reported this to my own satisfaction. And I dare say it, my own authorities are showing a lot of lapses when the lives of 200 children, Nigerian children, irrespective of whether they're from Maiduguri, or whether they're from Lagos, or whether they're from Kano, or whether they're from Bayelsa, or even Cross River State, they still are Nigerian children. And my own fear is, the more this goes on, the next time it happens, and if it happens within our own immediate vicinity, who has a moral right to stand up and demand anything is done? Who? Which of you? None. We must get over certain things. We must accept that we have a problem, and we must begin to encourage the resolutions of those problems. That's my own pet peeve from the last time we met, amongst other subjects we may want to talk about. Yes, sir, you were going to ask me.
All right, Ivan, thank you very much. My name is Stephen Lawson. I host a climate change series on NTA. So basically, I'm quite careful with the opinions that I'm able to express here. But I want to believe that the Speaker's Corner creates an opportunity for us to be truthful, to address some of the issues that confront us as a nation. And I oftentimes, on my page and also on my wall, I've expressed certain views that some people have judged as extreme in terms of how a black man's society ought to be, and how we ought to, as a matter of fact, define ourselves as the humans that we ought to be. Now, the adoption of the 200 kids, as the case may be, has become a political issue where the North is creating that as a question that needs to be answered by the South. Now, for me, there was an initial incident that happened in Yobe State. I don't have any relations in Yobe State, but I went to a unity school, and I felt the fact that if you kill one child, you're killing the whole of humanity. And people raised their voice in attending that particular issue. But then the Nigerian psychic, or the Nigerian psych, I meant to say, is one that, since it doesn't bother me, why would I want to lend my voice to some of this issue? And that has become the bane of the black man's society. Inyanko of recent came up to the world today with a memo accusing President Jonathan for not being able to do what he was expected to do. And as a matter of fact, accused him to the point of, using the military to create a situation that is tantamount to genocide. Now, for me, some of the questions I want to ask: if there was a plane crash, like you rightly actually pointed out, we know the people whose life was lost in the plane crash. So if there were 200 children, female in particular, that were adopted or kidnapped, how come we don't know who these people are? So if you're going to create a political scenario or landscape whereby, because a Niger Delta man who is the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and by the way, I'm a Niger Delta man from the Ijaw extraction, from the Kalabari Kingdom, all right, is basically being confronted with issues because he feels that the man ought not to rule. Do we realize that there was an history in this country whereby when Jonathan won the election, some northern elements actually said that they were going to make it very, 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 you fill in the gap, ungovernable as a question. Nobody asked these questions, all right? And now you're killing people from the north, and we in the south were worried. What are the governors in the north doing? All right? I will speak for humanity, because I believe that if you kill a human being in Jamaica, you're obviously killing me as well. Lucky Dube often said that if you don't lend your voice to issues that affect your society because it's not close to your neighborhood, one day the man is going to knock on your door. So for me, the Nigerian scenario is more like one that we have ostriches, all right, within the mindset of a fool's republic or fool's paradise. So until we are able to confront the truth based on the social platform of our humanity, we're just wasting our time. 200 girls, how is that possible? Do we know them? Were they registered in the school? Let us have their images and pictures displayed, basically.
All right, thank you very much.
And their ages as well.
Okay, thank you. Am I to assume from that you, and directly, and I'll be direct here, are you saying 200 girls were not abducted because you don't have the facts or the details which you require? Is that what you're saying, sir? No. Is that a yes or a no? Is it a yes or a no?
It's a yes.
Okay. All right. Now, so there is one school of thought that all of this, and I can only assume...
It's suspect. It's suspect.
Not a problem.
All right.
Not a problem. I'm agreeing with you. So it's suspect. I can then infer from what you've said that everything that we've heard about this, everything we've read about this, in taking your position, is actually a charade by somebody. That's your position. Does anybody have a contrary opinion to that? I can hear a yes from somewhere.
Okay, but before I give the microphone over, I believe that, you know what, Nigeria is a very incompetent state. There is a possibility that the school authorities don't actually have details, basically the pictures.
Well, we'll come to that.
That is what I'm thinking. So who wants the mic now?
Somebody has a contrary opinion to that. I think it's a gentleman. Where is that, my friend? Was it? That was you, wasn't it? Oh, hello. How are you, Reverend?
Hello, sorry.
Today? Yes.
The simple question was asked whether what the gentleman had proposed, that the abduction of the girls was a charade or not, and it clearly is not. There are over 200 missing girls, regardless of whether or not the northern governors are sitting there twiddling their thumbs. I think ultimate responsibility for the security in our country lies with the commander-in-chief. You know, if governors, if a state of emergency needs to be declared everywhere, if governors need to be removed, as has been done in the previous administration, where governors are almost put on house arrest, when states of emergency were declared in their state, Kwara, under President Obasanjo, you know, then it needs to be done. We're sitting here and then it's a finger-pointing exercise. You are the commander-in-chief of the nation, you are the commander-in-chief of your state, you are the one making it ungovernable. What are we talking about?
Okay. Another opinion? Raymond, it looks like you will need help tonight. So, my dear sir, just Mr. Lawson. So the gentleman says, irrespective of what is happening, yes, Mr. Lawson, there is still somebody who has ultimate responsibility, but we'll come back to that. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Isn't it rather strange that the principal of the school has suddenly kept quiet? Now, we know we have all been in secondary school. All of us here have had our pictures taken. There has to be some sort of a school record. There has to be some sort of a way to talk to the parents. Don't show us the parents crying. Don't show us pictures, random pictures of men and women weeping. Talk to these people. Find out who these children are. They will have passport pictures. They will have records of getting into those schools. They will have report cards. Talk to the girls who ran away, the girls who escaped. Yes, they were supposed to be taking exams. There are records. I also blame members of the press, because members of the press have not done any investigative journalism. Journalism is not, right now, journalism is all about this big man, that bling, that politician, this, that, and the other. These girls are people's children. They are alive, they are somewhere. Somebody gave birth to each and every one of them. We have to know who they are. They're not just girls. A numbers being thrown around. We don't even know how many of them are missing.
Okay. All right. Anybody wants to add anything to that? Maybe we'll take this table before it comes through. Yes,
so I want to read out this poem. I'm sure a lot of people here know. It's by Martin Niemöller, yeah? It says, first they came for the communist. I did not speak out because I was not a communist. Then they came for the socialist, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionist, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak out for me. You know, I remember when they started kidnapping in the Niger Delta, and because it didn't really affect us down here in the Southwest, a lot of people were very nonchalant in their attitude, you know, and we really didn't care. You know, it was okay, it's happening there in the north, in the Niger Delta, and they were kidnapping expatriates. You know, we thought, okay, well, even if they're kidnapping expatriates, their companies will pay the millions or the whatever naira they're asking for, and the expatriates will be released. Then it came down here to the Southwest to meet us, and they started kidnapping ordinary people, people like you and I. Then they even started kidnapping people, white-collar workers, you know, and they started kidnapping blue-collar workers, and they started kidnapping maids, and they started kidnapping drivers, and anybody was free game, you know, to be kidnapped. And when it came down here to meet us, we took it a lot more seriously. You know, and I'm thinking, you know, we can sit here and we can think to ourselves that, oh, did it really happen? Were those girls really kidnapped? There are no faces. We haven't seen their pictures in the papers. That to me is, it's our press that is at fault. It isn't the parents of the children. It isn't the schools. It isn't the school that the girls were in. I think it is our press that is at fault, that they haven't done a lot more to bring it to our consciousness. You know, by now...
Is that a deliberate thing?
I don't think it's a deliberate thing. I think they're just inept. I'm sorry if they're in any...
Is that just ineptitude?
I think that it's ineptitude. The press are just inept, you know. I would have thought that by now there'll be a countdown, maybe in this day or something, say day 1, day 2, day 3, there'll be a countdown where we're... You know, that girls have been missing for 10 days, 12 days, 14 days, you know, but there isn't. So I really don't think it because we don't have their pictures, because we don't have their names, it did not happen. You know, that doesn't say it did not happen, but, you know, and I do think it is. I went to QC and I honestly, yes, maybe when I was doing my exams, we took photographs, but I can't remember us taking, apart from the photographs we took as amongst ourselves, I can't remember us taking, school photographs, and this was what, over 30 years ago, I'm sorry, yeah. You know, and that was then, you know.
We're not
so I imagine that by now...
It was exactly about 40 years ago, but that's all right.
I imagine that by now it is worse. You know, by now I don't think, they might not have pictures. Maybe their parents should have
Maybe
pictures.
Also the schools are remote, but let me just summarize that. You are saying that this event did happen.
Oh, I do believe it happened, yeah.
Now, does anybody here believe that it did not happen at all? I mean, I'm not talking about maybe not. Mr. Lawson, do you believe it did not happen at all? All right. So wait. So we agree on one thing: an event has happened, and somehow we've either mismanaged it, or we've misused the information, or all for different levels of interest. I am very glad that we at least agree that it happened, because that's a starting point. Yes, sir.
To my mind, the event happened. Girls were kidnapped. But I have to step back a little bit, like I'm wont to do every time I look at a particular scenario. Now we're all worried. The girls. Let's ask a few different questions. How did they, in a place that is under siege and meant to be policed by police and the army, get to that school in the first place? Have enough vehicles to enter the school, pick up that number of girls, and actually get out of that town? And they did not get stopped by anybody. Previous to that, they have gone to other schools, they have killed children in schools. They simply seem to sort of float into town, do what they want to do, and sort of float out. Occasionally we hear that maybe some soldiers or some security force saw somebody somewhere, there was an attack somewhere, they killed a few people somewhere. How do they keep on doing what they do in a place that is basically in a state of war?
Thank you. Now, my question to you, sir, would be, where are we directing that question? Where should we be directing those questions?
I could actually ask that question myself, but for the purpose of this particular event, I think it's above our pay grade right now.
Okay. You're earning way too much more than us. But I take your point. Yes, Mr. Lawson again.
There's certain things we need to have in plain sight, and we need to clarify them in order for us not to find ourselves in a madness junction or within a cloud of confusion. We live in a society where I love Nigeria. I have friends from the Yoruba tribe. I was born in Lagos. I'm always very wary when one starts to make a point in that manner. I'm always afraid of what is coming because these are some of the truths. These are some of the truths
because
that
I have Yoruba friends. I actually speak Yoruba better than I speak my own language. I've lived more in Yoruba land than I've lived in my own language. So I am really, really worried what is coming at the end of this.
The fact is this: Nigeria is a beautiful country that we all must contribute to make to work. All right? Now, if certain part of the nation or the country have decided that rulership is their own birthright, then I'm going to argue that any day, anytime. It's unfortunate that people's lives have been destroyed. And I remind you of one thing. Bob Marley said, so many have to die. So many have to be homeless. And this is the way of prophecy. But the fact of the Nigerian situation is the fact that we do not want to confront the truth. We must not forget the history of how all of this started. People made a declaration that the administration of Lord Jonathan will be made ungovernable. Nobody's asking those questions.
Well, hold on a minute. Let me agree with you for a moment, Mr. Lawson. Let me agree with you.
All right?
So people have made declarations.
Please,
I'm sorry. I have the bigger microphone.
I'm sorry. I went to a unity school.
Microphone.
Children were killed in the daylight,
yes.
And I was angry. Yes. I stood up, walked on the streets,
right.
And people thought that I didn't have the right. Why won't I? If you kill a child in a secondary school, it could have as well as been my own child.
I agree with you.
But then, people were adopted, 200 kids, female, yes. And you have a governor who comes in and makes declaration of genocide, and everybody thinks that it is normal. That governor should have been impeached. All right, please, Ivan. I have right to my opinion.
No.
All right?
I'm not disputing your opinion.
But can I say what I want to say and rest my case? Can I say what I want to say and rest my case?
I'm listening.
Oh, please. Now, I will never disagree the fact that this thing happened, because there were children who were killed in Yobe. It happened. It's a reality. I was in Abuja when the Yanyan bomb blast went off, and people made the comment that the reason why the bomb went off was the fact that Goodluck Jonathan should not go on for 2015. I didn't vote for Goodluck Jonathan in 2011 because I was the national publicity secretary of a political party. I'm not a politician. All right? I'm a Niger Deltan. But I say here that I'm going to vote for Goodluck Jonathan come 2015. Who likes it or not is their bloody business. Now, people came up with conspiracy issue. Ivan, can I finish my talk?
Microphone.
Ivan, let me finish my talk. Please, let me finish my talk. Let me finish my talk.
All right, as long as there's no violence, no problem.
Hold on a minute, just before the gentleman. Mr. Lawson, let me make one thing clear. Mr. Lawson, it is not about stopping you from expressing yourself. It is about allowing everybody else to have an opinion. And also, it is about, Mr. Lawson, I have the bigger microphone, so I can stop you at any time. But I have a question for you. Mr. Lawson, are you with me? I have a question for you. I have heard it. You've preached it. So, some crazy governors or some crazy political leaders have said the country is not going to be governable. I agree. Okay, not a problem. I say to you, Mr. Lawson, that you will not leave here and get home. Are you going to sit down and say, well, Ivor has said I am not going home, so, hey, you know what? I can't go home. I will return the question to you and say, what is the point of you being my boss? What is the point of you being in control of my army? What is the point of you having all the infrastructure at your disposal, and then you say to me, because I said you will not go home, so hey, you know what? I'm not going to go home. I don't buy your argument, sir.
Sorry, hello. Ivor, just for the record, there are two Mr. here, so please be specific.
Hello. I totally disagree with the other Mr. Lawson, because if you are the president of the Federal Republic of a country, except we're saying that we've gotten to a state where it's a failed country and the apparatus of government do not lie in the hands of the president, then I would agree that a bunch of northern governors are forming a conspiracy against the country. We need to understand one thing. In every state, the chief executive officer does not have any right against the least security apparatus, which is the police for the state. Every commissioner of police reports to the Inspector General of Police. The military is headed by the president. So if there's an insurgency in a part of the country, the president has all the apparatus and all the parts. So whatever a group of governors, a group of people have said at any point in time does not count, because you are the president. You can declare. Presidents have gone to war because people have been killed. Are we trying to say if 200 Americans were kidnapped in Nigeria, the US Marines would not have invaded Nigeria by now?
I can assure you there won't be a United Nations discussion on that.
We're talking about Nigerians being kidnapped, and we're talking about political interest here. They are girls, for crying out loud. They don't belong to parties. They don't even vote. If only one American is lost, they will send in people, and we are within Nigeria. My recommendation is the buck stops at the desk of the president, regardless where he comes from. Regardless where he comes from.
Wow. Okay, it's getting exciting. Can I have the microphone here, please? Very quickly. We'll come back. We'll come back to this subject. But Mr. Lawson, you have started something that we're going to have to clear up. Yes, sir.
Hello. I am pleased that
ladies and gentlemen, let's just get involved in this. We'll come back to that. We'll come back to the details.
Okay, I'm very pleased that we are getting into this matter. I have a problem. I think we are reducing ourselves here. We are sounding very much like, I know you won't agree, we are sounding very much like locals. We are not sounding like Nigerians. This problem is more nuanced than you think. Of course, everybody knows the president, is responsible for running the country, security and all that stuff. But it's much more than that. Now, I'm going back to the issue of whether or not 200 girls were arrested, abducted. I don't think that's a big question. We know it happened, just like every other thing that has happened throughout this insurgency. The other thing also is that we have to know that this insurgency is more than 10 years old now, in a sense, or about 10 years old. And one of the things that made it what it is today, and actually internationalized it, is the strong arm tactics adopted by the president at the time, President Yar'Adua. Jonathan was not part of this. So nobody started this because of Jonathan. It's been on. And we keep hearing sponsorship, this one sponsors this or that. I understand the whole politics and all that, which, we shouldn't get into now. But the truth is this. Boko Haram is an international franchise operating in Nigeria. They are being sponsored from outside. You have a very porous border. You have your security services are not responding as they should, and your politicians are playing politics with the issue.
Okay.
That is what is going on now.
Okay.
So if we are prepared to solve the problem, then we as citizens must begin to look at what we can do and how we can influence things, rather than go ethnic or begin to say Jonathan this or this one. That's not the point. The point is quite different. When you deal with matters like this, it is not a partisan matter. This is about us and our future.
Thank you. Thank you. Very quickly, sir.
A wild card.
Yes.
It was said a couple of years ago by a certain entity
yes.
that Nigeria was going to break up in 2015.
Yes.
And
so all of this could be orchestrated.
All of, as far as I'm concerned,
to meet
there
that
is
prediction.
a lot of things going on in the background.
Okay. Right. Just on this table.
Okay, thank you, Mr.
Ivor.
Ivor. Yeah. What I would say is the president, the chief of, the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, Federal Republic of Nigeria, irregardless of what we are saying, insurgency has started before, long before he took power. And since he's the commander-in-chief, he's responsible for anything that happens to us. We are only talking about the 200 girls that have been abducted. We don't even know whether they've been killed. Sometimes they go in Yobe, in Unity School. They went there at night, killed boys, sleeping in their sleep. They were being slaughtered. Nobody said anything. And I will say something. When you started your speech, you said something about the media. Maybe they have not disappointed you in any way. I think they have disappointed the whole of the nation. I don't know what media, maybe media worldwide is different. But from my practice, I'm a medical doctor. I know that medicine, it's universal. It's the same thing everywhere. What's it called? The Afghanistan war. You see journalists filming how they are shooting RPGs and everything. You see them dodging their head, wearing helmets. Where are our own journalists?
I didn't mean to laugh at what you were saying. I was just trying to picture a Nigerian journalist.
But the only thing our journalists today, I got to the system today, and the only thing I could see is how a celebrity in Nigeria that had a wedding in Dubai had cars and stuff and gold-plated phones. Is that what we want to look at in Nigeria?
I think we all agree that the one critical element of journalism and the media, at least the time when I started out in it, has been lost. They don't educate anymore. They simply inform. The governor said, the MD said, Madam said. There is no critical analysis of what the situation is. There's nothing that is going to educate you on what the situation may be. I think let's agree on one thing, and we all universally agree that our media right now has failed all of us. By extension, they failed those children. And somebody did mention, I think it was the lady Funke who mentioned, that the same way as we remained oblivious of what was happening in the Niger Delta, and I was one of those ignorant people because I was living in Lagos. It was only happening over there. And so sometimes we used to crack jokes when we saw white people jogging around in Ikoyi, and we say, Kai, you can't try that in Port Harcourt. But the truth of the matter is, that laissez-faire attitude, that distancing of ourselves, whatever excuse we want to give, is how this thing, which the gentleman said, yes, rightly started before this administration, but right now, my fear is it has outgrown everybody. But what then do we do? Okay, it's too big for us. Let it happen. We can't do that. And no matter how much we stand here on Speaker's Corner and say, ultimately some people have been elected, selected, voted for, and put in position to carry out certain jobs. So don't ask me to solve the Boko Haram crisis because I can't. I can tell you what I'd like to see. But you, sir, your position, by virtue of your position, by virtue of what you opted to do, should be in a position to tell me how you can solve that problem. And that information is what I am missing as a Nigerian right now. And so don't blame me if I draw my own conclusions. I did say to you we were live. We have a question from far away in Singapore.
All right. This is from Andrew Harvey. He actually lived in Nigeria for a couple of years. And it says here that you Nigerians are criminally patient. That in other parts of the world, things like this would have degenerated into something else. And he believes that Nigerians can talk, but do nothing about it. So what will you say on that?
Andrew Harvey who wants to take Andrew Harvey's statement? Do you want to take that? So he says, we Nigerians can talk, and I am doing that.
Well done.
And I do it once every month.
God bless you.
And it has not reached which brings the question, we are not really that bad off yet.
We are, and I'm actually going to support the Singaporean text or Skype message or whatever. It's a modern world. The people online here. Quickly Google Veterans Today. It's a magazine. It's run by a man called Gordon Duff, ex-US Marine. Veterans Today. Go quickly. There's an article called Nigeria Targeted for Destruction, written in 2011. And it ties in the drug trade, the arms trade, terrorism, and extreme corruption that's affected the likes of Afghanistan, Pakistan, Yemen, and now Nigeria, and that there will be no end as long as you have governments who actually see a path through, called in inverted commas, the war on terrorism to make money again, and not that government magic. And everything in that document since 2011, every step he predicted up till drones, second-hand drones, or not new drones, second-hand drones will be bought, second-hand superior equipment will be bought, and all this tied in to extreme corruption, and there will be no end until those corrupt governments are removed.
Right.
So we are in it for a while yet.
Let me ask you a question, sir. And I always worry when these theories come alive. Look, I am not Nigeria as a nation. I'm serious about this. As an individual, I have been threatened in my line of work. I have been promised I will not succeed in A, B, C, or D. I have been told I will not get this far or that far. My question is, do I sit back and say to myself, well, you know what? The Americans, the all-powerful Americans have said we will not go beyond 2015. And so we can draw any inference we like from that. So maybe they are the ones fueling all of this. Maybe it's even the Chinese. Oh, you know what? I actually think it's the Ghanaians because they're jealous of us anyway.
That was good.
But my point is, 150 million people, who are you to tell me that we cannot resolve what you've already told me is going to happen? So we are criminally patient. So we should stop this whole thing about somebody said we are not going to do this or we are not going to do that. Who on earth is a governor to speak where there is a sitting president? Yes, I've said so. A governor should not be able to speak where there is a sitting president. A sitting president can override anybody, rightly or wrongly. Let me give you an example. We all might have different opinions about his character. The former American President G.W. Bush. Hey, very funny guy. You might not be able to spell potato. He might. But when George Bush wanted to take the world to war, he stood up, even if it's for the wrong reasons. I am talking about character and strength of character. He took both enemies and friends and said, we are going to fight, because he had only one objective: do not mess with America. The American economy suffered disastrously for it. But one thing was established: you don't mess with America. Everything else, they can recover from. Where am I in Nigeria? I have the largest population. I have the biggest country. I have a GDP that has been rebased, and I am the most economically viable nation. But I have the strongest weapon. I have 150 million people. Do you know what it will take if 1 million Nigerians begin to walk along the Seme border? 5 countries will collapse. They will fall. Republic of Benin, Togo, all the way to Ghana. Ghana only has 23 million people. So let's just move just the people of Lagos alone and say let them start walking in that direction. They will shut their borders and not let you in. I am personally tired of everybody making my president look weak. He can't do this. He can't do this because the Northerners said so. He can't do this because, well, Buhari had said. Who did you vote for to take charge? It wasn't APC, it wasn't the opposition, it wasn't Buhari, it wasn't even me. You didn't give me that responsibility. I didn't even offer you that I could take on that responsibility. Somebody has to take charge somewhere. Right now, it's not me. The day you make me president, maybe. But for now, the only option I have is to look at my governor, look at my local government chairman, look, a company is not doing well. Nobody's going to say, well, I have useless managers. The first question is, who's the MD? Who's the MD? Oh, well, you see, MD says, well, it really wasn't me because you see, my deputy MD is a very bad guy. And my department head is very fraudulent.
Hello?
But the company is falling.
Hello, sir. Can I say something?
One moment. The gentleman with the microphone, I don't know if you all know him. Stand up. Is a story that goes to do with what I am talking about. This young man, at one point, had absolutely no hope. This young man was walking through garbage tips to eat. He could have been a thief. He could have joined the boys on the streets in the car park. And we would have made every excuse for him and said, well, you see, he's a rather unfortunate young man. But Vocal Slender here, even though he can't sing, I don't know why they call him Vocal Slender, decided that he was not going to remain in the position he was in. And when the one opportunity came, and he saw a white man with a camera, he started singing. And please congratulate him, he's just won a Google Africa Award for one of the most inspiring turnaround stories. We should start talking about turnaround like Vocal Slender. I am tired of all your excuses. So what? If you people said, well, I'll make it ungovernable, do they have more arms than you? Do they have more resources than you? Do they have more control over the security and defense systems than you do? Who are they? They are not in power. They are not the ones in power. And I don't buy that argument. Because you see, we say, well, we don't know who's controlling behind. No, I can only see my president. That's the man in control. You may doubt it. Mrs. Slender.
Yeah, thank you. I will start with a little quote. They say, you know, consign me. Now the thing till they spoil because you know reach me. Said that the silence of the righteous, that's why evil prevail. Now, to me, first of all, I think the president may feel like, okay, if the Northerners want power by all means and decide to kill their people, it's left for them. That is my thought, that maybe he thinks that way. Then a solution, me, my own solution, it's my own opinion, my own opinion, not anybody. I felt that, okay, our soldiers, anytime I read on paper, our soldiers who said, we chase the Boko Haram, they all run to Cameroon or they go to Niger, we can't chase them to Niger or Cameroon. And they withdraw. If truly they have a safe haven, a safe base, because one thing you must know, without a base, nobody can attack a country or a place. George Bush did that when he said the base Al-Qaeda have was Afghanistan. So you have to take over Afghanistan. And that was gradually the end of Al-Qaeda. So if the president, good luck, want to tackle Boko Haram, the best is to crush the 3 countries that are sharing border with us. Tell them, call them to the order. Please, Cameroon, if you don't take care of these people in your border, Niger, if you don't take care of these people in your border, Chad, if you don't take care of these people in your border, right. I will deal with you. I will deal with you. Yeah, I will deal with you. Then it's all in the name of Boko Haram. We attack Cameroon in the name of Boko Haram. Okay. Attack Niger in the name of Boko Haram. Right. Attack Chad in the name of Boko Haram. Then everyone will come together and solve the problem. There was this saying, the man that invents dynamite, they asked him, what do you think is the solution to all the problem in the world? He said, when the world power come together and inhale themselves at once, civilized mind will see it and disband their troop. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, hi. So I'm not Nigerian, and I've been...
You're luckier than most.
I've been sitting listening to you, and the mic's not working when I speak. But I just wanted to make a point to sitting here. Oh yeah, where am I from? Yeah, I'm from East Africa. I'm from Uganda, Rwanda. We came out of a genocide. We are the leading example right now in Africa of how to forgive and forget and move forward. You can, and that's the point that Nigeria needs to. But the other thing is that what I wanted to say is that we're sitting in a park here all together, and I think already we're very like-minded people to be here sitting discussing issues about the state of the state of the government, let's say. But my fundamental point is, what are you all going to do tomorrow? What are you all going to do tomorrow about this? Are you going to carry on with your days? Are you going to go and rally and go and find your local authority? Are you going to go and find your governors? What are you actually going to get up and do about it? Because all you're going to do is come back the next time there's a speaker's corner and talk about the next issue. Okay. If Nigerians with the size of a population that you have decided to stand up and go and march on, like, for example, the 1st of May, and tell the government that this is enough, you've had enough, you don't understand how much pressure you will put on them for them to make a change. However, you'll just sit here and all be individual islands. And therefore, I love the idea of this conversation, and I love the idea of having this space to discuss. But it's pointless if you're not going to do anything about it.
Okay. Is somebody going to tell her what he or she is going to do about it tomorrow? What are we going to do about all of this tomorrow? The gentleman there, who's got my microphone? Sorry, we'll come back to you in a second. There is another message from one of our live viewers and listeners. I think this one's out of New York.
Yeah, New York.
Well, this is Ikechukwu Donald from New York City, and he says that Nigerians should stand up for their rights, not sit down and talk, almost like what the other person said. And I just posed a question to him that why is in New York? Why does he come home and fight the battle with us?
Well, okay. I think the bottom line of this, that the message we're getting across here, is that beyond the talking, beyond the deliberations, and beyond whatever positions we take, all of us must find a way to come together and forward this unilateral objective. This country must be safe for everyone. This country must move forward, and this country must survive. Which then brings me to my second subject.
Hello, yeah, my point to this is...
I'm sorry, who's speaking? You have a point, yeah, and it is?
My point to me in this is that I'm a Nigerian by birth and by everything. What I believe as a Nigerian is that Nigerian state of insecurity has gone beyond ordinary security. It has gone to a state of war. And what we need as Nigerians is the truth to overcome the state of insecurity. There is one assertion made by a U.S. senator in the year 1918. He said the first casualty of war is the truth. So what we need to overcome Boko Haram issues is the truth. The government cannot do it alone, but Nigerians can do it. All together we can achieve the security state.
I think you're absolutely correct. And whilst we recognize who has responsibility, the ultimate support to ensure that they succeed has to come from another 150 million army members. Now, when you talk about war, I see you have acknowledged that we are at war, you say. You agree we're at war. Anybody else agree that we are at war? In whatever name we call it. Let me ask a question, by the way. If you can acknowledge that you are at war and you recognize it, should any movie tell us about a war? Okay, I see I got you there. I got you there.
Yes, sir.
There is a movie that we all have been waiting for. You're from the Census Board. I have questions for you, sir. There is a movie we've been anticipating for a long time. There's a full one behind me there. Yes. I'm only dealing with half of a yellow sun. I'm dealing with somebody that we have praised a great deal, we've admired, who has represented us, who has been praised everywhere else in the world, has written a brilliant book which has been in circulation for years, which most of us have read, maybe not the larger population, but then there is a movie which was completed. By the way, I'm proud to say I saw them when they were filming it. It was in my village. I was at home. Yes. Even though I said I won't tell you where I come from. But this movie has been completed. And the process of completing a movie and the expense and everything involved in delivering this movie into the public space, the world has praised it. Oh, but guess what? We can't watch it yet. Because our National Film, Video and Video Censors Board have decided they're going to stall the release of this movie. Fundamentally, even though they have not spoken, and I'll give it to them, because I always wonder why our institutions always wait until everybody protests before they have something to say. And since they do not speak, we have to make the assumption that there are two things wrong with that movie. One is nudity and sex, something we don't do in Nigeria. And the other one is the backdrop of that movie. Remember, it's the backdrop, not the focus of the movie. The movie is about two people in love and trying to get through during a particular period. Word on the street is that some people are very uncomfortable with that backdrop. Did the Civil War happen or not? Did people die? What's their destruction? What is this movie going to tell me that has not been written about, that has not been talked about, that people still don't remember? But that gentleman there just admitted we're at war. So we can admit we're at war because it's Boko Haram up in the north that we are not concerned about. But a civil war, which was a significant part of this nation's history. I'm not even from the east, I am from the corner. It is a point of history, it's an important point in the history of this country, and somebody wants to portray it as a background. I can understand if you're doing a documentary and it's not factual. I can understand if you're doing a documentary and it's full of a lot of inconsistencies.
Can I say something?
Yes, ma'am. Somebody has the microphone. Yes, ma'am, please. On this particular issue, should that movie be banned?
Hello?
Okay.
Hello? Yeah.
I know all of them on this table, and I know that they have a bus waiting for them to a special place, so please bear with them.
Okay.
Please go ahead.
I'm not entirely sure if I should be on camera. I'm breaking all existing protocols because
you're on camera.
Of where I'm coming from. I came here
basically to see what this is about and just observe. I should not be making comments, but I have decided to be the change I want to see. So if in the process of whatever I'm going to say or whatever I'm doing, something, it affects my source of livelihood or my professional background, please, I'll be needing a job. Having said that, we have a myriad of problems. We don't ask the relevant questions. I work with government, and I can categorically tell you that it's never the way it looks like. And it is really, really difficult. It's never. If you're not in position to make a change, you can have a dream. But when you get there, we always forget that that dream is your dream. If the people around you don't have the same dreams as you do, you are going to fail. The question is, let's look inwards and ask ourselves, who am I? Who do I want to be? How do I want to contribute to get to the next level? We have religious problems. We are not addressing them. We have ethnic problems. We are not addressing them. If you notice, I don't know how many Muslims or how many Northerners we have here. They will have their sentiments. Mr. Lawson, you see how agitated he got just talking about the other Lawson, Stephen Lawson. The other Lawson, and you begin to, you ask yourself that, look, this is a guy that was born in Lagos. I was born in Lagos, I grew up in Lagos. My mom isn't Nigerian, but my dad is. I am from the Niger Delta. I do not speak any Ijaw language. I speak Yoruba. So in my spirit, I am as much as a Southwesterner than I am anywhere else. So I don't have the sentiment, but I can have a dispassionate view and look that if Goodluck Jonathan were to have come from the major tribes, I'm not sure the kind of things that is on ground and is being said would not even happen. So we need to look that, do I want to be a Nigerian, or do I want to be an Igbo man, or do I want to be Yoruba, or do I want to be Hausa? Do I want to be a Christian, or do I want to be a Muslim? And we have those are fundamental issues. We are struggling with it in our workplaces. We are struggling with it in our social gathering. We are struggling with it everywhere. If we don't address our oneness, if we even believe in it, because there's bitterness in the north, there's bitterness with Muslims, there's bitterness with the Igbos. I tell myself now that I am so grateful I am not from a major tribe. It's that bad, it's like, you know what, I don't have to be anything. There are too many mixtures. I'm from so many places. I have the privilege of not having that extreme sentiment of I am. So let's just agree to know that it's beyond what we read in the newspapers, it's beyond what we see. It's about, let's just look inwards and say, okay, what are we going to do? What can we do? But it's never really the way, the media is not helping. It's never really the way it's projected.
Madam, let me thank you very much for that. Before I lose you, I need to go back to point out something related to what you have said. It's interesting that we spent more than an hour here. I could not tell you who is from the north. I can't tell you who is from the east. I don't even know who's a Muslim, an atheist, or until you said so, I didn't even know he was an Ijaw man. What exactly does that tell us? And oh, by the way, no tribal war has broken out yet. What does it mean? Nigerians can gather. Nigerians can discuss these problems. Nigerians can overcome these problems. If Nigerians don't let whoever these problems serve their purposes to influence them. Now, the subject at the moment is this particular movie. For me personally, it's an embarrassment to the country, and that is even more important than whoever takes the decision to ban it. because the world is already expecting it. The world has already lauded this movie. The achievement has already been established beyond the shores. You must have very, very good reason for bringing us into disrepute. Which, if you have not said anything since the word came out that it was banned, what excuse are we supposed to be waiting for?
Sorry,
the other Mr. Lawson.
Yes, the other Mr. Lawson. Okay, I'll first of all address the issue of the film, Half of Yellow Sun. Apparently, the reason the film was stepped down was because they had not paid, or they had not registered with the Census Board. They registered with the Census Board a week or something, or they just realized to register with the Nigerian Census Board. Everywhere else they registered with the Census Board everywhere else. So basically there was some information that I only heard about this yesterday, and I also felt as peeved as you did when I heard the film had been banned. So it was a technical issue. Secondly, now down to the back to the issue on ground.
Mr. Lawson, why should we as Nigerians be getting that information from you?
Well, I heard about it yesterday.
Oh, and you only heard about it yesterday, but we heard about this ban for over a week now.
Yeah, but it depends. It depends on who is using that ban to cover up the embarrassment of bringing in all
It
the
is
stars,
already an
all the stars
embarrassment because I believe that we can expedite the registration of this movie.
Well,
if it is just as simple as that.
Okay.
We should be able to if the world is watching us.
That was just a point of
you do have
information.
extenuating circumstances.
That was just a point of information. Point of information. That's just purely a point of information.
Okay.
All right. Now, I subscribe to conspiracy theories. All right.
You do?
Yes, I do.
And what's the latest you have?
Gaddafi fought a war and said, "Look, I'm fighting Al Qaeda. I mean, it's an Al Qaeda war. I mean, there's no rebellion. There's no internal rift. It's an Al Qaeda issue. The world didn't believe, and the West, for whatever interests they had, supported the other side, and the other side came to bite them in the face when they blew up the American embassy. All right, now, Nigerians fought beside Gaddafi. We know that. And when Gaddafi died, Nigerians ran out, and they were down through Mali, through wherever, down to maybe Borno State. My conspiracy theory is that we're not fighting just Hausa men. This is not Hausa people who are fighting, or your regular Fulani cattle wearers. But this is an organized Al Qaeda vis-a-vis ex-Libya, and look at the situation. All the states, all the places where the points of attack are all the areas bordering the Lake Chad, where oil has been discovered. No, so this is my conspiracy theory that it's political, not purely religious, it's political as well. And see things that our intelligence services are not intelligent. They're not using intelligence or whatever to analyze the situation. We're just reactionary. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now, just before anybody else says anything, I do have some opinions on what the real subject matter is, and I don't want to run the risk of being accused that we've done the same thing and avoided the issue which we raised was on the film, on the Nigerian Civil War. Could I just quickly take a statement there? And I'll come here. On the movie Half of a Yellow Sun being delayed, and I'm being nice here, I don't want to use bang, being delayed in its release.
My own opinion is you have not failed until you blame your failure on someone else. When you are in charge of something, you need to get that. Now it's very disappointing that the PDP or PDP blame this thing on Buhari or APC or whatever. For me, each time I read that thing, I just smile. Now, Your enemy do not owe you any right to suicide. The function of your enemy is to destroy you. Then you won't sit down there and allow your enemy to destroy you. Forget about somebody doesn't like someone. We have a president in this country where old people were there. There was Bakassi Boy. We have a Joshi. We have riot in the OPC Southwest. We have Isubara Kedife. We have in the Ketu. We have in the Ofa. We have in the Sagam. We have in the Jedule. But somebody took a decision and he did not degenerate. Some people came with Sharia and nobody said this political Sharia and the guy stopped them immediately. I'm coming. I'm coming. He said the political Sharia and the guy took decision. And today we don't get to this level. Let me tell you the truth. Let me tell you this one. For you to kidnap 200 people, you can't use a bus. This is a place we have emergency. To move 200 people forcefully, you need to have fleet of vehicles. You need to move in convoy. Where are the soldiers? So if somebody has failed, let us move failure and move forward. I think for me, on Monday we should all march out and demand for Jonathan to decide. Let somebody sensible take over the road.
All right, as we're praying.
Yeah, thank you for having me back. Sorry, I don't mean to hurry you, but so go ahead. All right, thank you. Actually, from my own point of view, I want to make a demonstration. If you get outside this gate now and you are seeing two vehicles having accidents or something, who are you going to blame? Are you going to blame the passengers? Definitely you're going to be like, Kinosha on driver's Z. You're going to walk up to the drivers. Definitely this nation, we have a driver. And who is our driver? Jonathan. Yeah. If there's an accident, you can't just walk up there like, Kinosha on passenger. You feel like Kinosha on driver's Z. So definitely the driver in this nation is who? Jonathan. And if he knows he doesn't have the power, he's not capable, then he should resign honorably. Yeah. Okay. The point is this. Wait, boss.
Oh, I thought you had made the point.
Wait, I'm very sorry. The point now is this. You know if he should resign, so many things are going to happen. There's going to be chaos, probably because of them. What we are doing here, probably our own law, whatever. What is it to chaos or something? But the main point is this. I think it's not handling the way it's meant to handle it. He's the driver of this nation. Okay. And you should accept that and you should take some responsibility.
All right, thank you. Now, thank you very much. Now, let me agree with you on the issue of responsibility. But let me say one thing on this recurring mention of resignation. Even as a strategy, under the circumstances where we find ourselves right now, the president resigning is a very unrealistic expectation or even demand. This is not as simple right now as, oh, Mr. President just resigned. Let me even ask you, let me give you a scenario. Okay, so the president resigns, yeah? Who becomes president? The vice president. Is it a different political party? Is it a different line of thinking? Because if the vice president is different from the president right now, then you would expect that if this president resigns, then things will change. How do you think anything will change if Mr. President resigns now? Because outside of an impeachment or an election, what is he resigning for? Take responsibility. That's another argument altogether. A different argument. The South Korean president just came on television before I came to this show to apologize to the families of the children, most of whom have not been found yet in the ferry disaster. It's an apology. For me, that's a great thing. Why? Because you're telling your people that I am in touch with how you feel. So whether the president danced the day after or the day before, resignation does not come into the issue. even whether you support him or not. Right now, there will be a major catastrophe if the president resigns for any reason under this cloud. But taking responsibility, we can argue. I think somebody should have taken responsibility for that nonsense that happened with the immigration students that died in the stadium. I think somebody should have been fired. I think when Nigerians lose lives and property, our leaders should show us that we know how you feel. But not the president resigning. That is a mega problem. But can I ask a question why we're avoiding talking about the civil war? Because we've gone round.
Hello.
Well, the microphone was coming back.
The microphone is here. Yes, I totally disagree with this view that our issues are tribal and religious. It is the work of the problems are not religious and they are not tribal. When they are sharing money in Abuja, they don't know religion, they don't know tribe. Please, can you, when they are sharing money in Abuja, they don't know tribe. If you go to Bodilon now, you will see Tambuwa there, you will see all sorts of tribes there. They don't know you, but they tell you that it's tribal because they want to keep you busy. The man in Diaraba want to fight the Yoruba man because they let him believe that man is his problem.
Okay, so the problem is not tribal.
Boko is not Haram. Boko, Book, Haram, same. Book is same. It started right there. The people, the youths of the north at that time said, we have gone to school, we have gone to their school, we have read their books, no jobs. Our parents have borrowed money.
So all the education was useless.
No jobs. Now, all they do is dialogue, like the way we are doing Abuja now. When we dialogue, no solution. Let us take our destiny in our hands. And they said the rulership in Nigeria over the years have come from the north. What have they done for the region? Nothing. You come back home and face us and let us iron it out. They refuse to come back home. They stay in Abuja, they stay in the Lagos, and they went on the rampage. That group had been wiped out, and then the Boko Haram has been put in the hands of some, I don't know whether we call them militants now, or some people. If you're in Islam, we are taught two things. First, and that is right way, once you are born, you are old enough to die. Whether you like it or not, that is the truth. Once you are born, because a child is born, sometimes doesn't even get home, he dies in the hospital.
I am struggling.
He said, if you die fighting the fight of God, you go to heaven. So armed with these two weapons, these people are used to fight the fight.
Okay. All right, fine. Raymond, sorry, can I have the microphone here? Okay.
No music, no tenderness, hands of chains set me free. No more labor camps, no more jungle.
Not knowing
you
were just human.
Facing danger, Mr. HB.
We were refugees in a place where always spoke the same language. We were treated like scum because of where we come from. It's not tribal, it's not ethnic. It is the general mentality that is holding Nigerians back. We're all in a barrel, and once anybody tries to raise their head and climb out, the other crowd pulls right back into the barrel of dirty water. That is the problem we have. Yes, the war happens. I still have flashbacks occasionally, depending on the sound of the jet plane. learned reflex kicks in. I try to find where to hide. I heard bullets using dawn. It has not made me hate the next person. It has made me actually wonder why this war has been fought, because it was most unnecessary. I know that there are people here who would no time to lose, but we had a bunch of yahoos who were busy wanking themselves in public to actually think that we have a country that we have to protect. We have children. We are sitting here doing it to our children and grandchildren. I have grandchildren now. What stories am I going to tell them? Tales of war. Don't talk to this person, don't talk to that person, because this person is from this ethnic group, this person is blue, the other person is green, the other person is yellow, they don't have the same philosophy you have. Are we looking around to see what actually affects all of us? Thank you. That's all I have to say for the time being.
The thing I picked up from you is the passion. Apparently, if we get reminded of the war by this movement, passions are likely to rise. I don't think so. I don't agree with it. I think it was a completely wrong decision. And considering the focus of the world on Nigeria at the time, it was a decision that was completely unnecessary. Are there any lawyers in there? I know a few, but I'm talking about serious lawyers now. Not pretend lawyers. I know a few pretend lawyers I can see in the audience. But seriously, Judge and Bill, here is a fundamental question. Should a minister of the Federal Republic take out an injunction to stop both arms of the legislature from pursuing any tribe into allegations against him or her while that person is still on the seat? I want to legally go into this. I want two opposing views because I need to know them. Should a minister of the Federal Republic go out and take out an injunction to prevent both arms of the legislature, being the National Assembly, from probing his or her department or person whilst that person is still in position?
Whoever is doing this is deceiving himself. He cannot dissolve the work of the legislature. Even if the Supreme Court makes a statement today, the law will speak what it has to do. Simple as that. It's legal.
Any opposing view? Any opposing view?
There cannot be an opposing view. It has to be a lie.
There is an opposing view.
Check out there.
There is an opposing view.
No. It's not a question of, ladies and gentlemen, it's not a question of opposing me or opposing me to clarify issues. First of all, anybody and everybody is free to approach court. It is what the court does that should bother us. You can wake up now, you have a transaction, you can go to court and say you're suing me.
Yes, I don't even like your glasses tonight.
I noticed that. Yeah. So now, we as a minister of the Federal Republic decided to go to court to ask for an injunction to restrain the legislature from doing their work. She has the right to do that. She has the money to fund the lawyers. It is what the court does that should concern you. Does the court have the jurisdiction to stop? Does it have the power to stop the legislature from working, from doing its work?
And your answer to your own question
is? The answer is no.
Absolutely not. Madam, were you going to say something different? Oh, it is her right. Oh, I absolutely agree.
Good evening. It's a fundamental human right. She has a right to exercise. And like you said, after exercising her right,
The court has a right to make a penalty. Now, the two houses can move, take the next step. And then the next step, I mean, we've seen occasions where Keyamo, Femi Falana wake up, they don't even know you don't know who is involved. They take an action to court and say, we're suing X, Y, and Z on behalf of Nigeria. Who sent that? It's the fundamental human right.
Let me ask you a question. I don't disagree with you. Yes. But if a minister is still in position,
yes,
is it the minister herself or the seat of the minister that is suing and that has this fundamental human right? Who is under investigation? It's the Minister of Petroleum. Is it the seat or the person?
Somebody is sitting on that seat. Who would they have called? Would they have called the chair to the two houses?
No.
They were going to call the Lesbian to the two houses and speak to her. So she has gone ahead to the court and said, hey, I don't want to speak to you. You don't want to. You want to speak to me? I don't want to speak to you. There's nothing wrong with that in law. So then the court says, the court has can decide both ways. Don't speak to her or speak to her. Then the third action has to be taken. The two houses can then say, hey, we want to speak to her and we're going to speak to you whether you like it or not.
So this is likely,
it's going to be
likely to run and run.
It's going to be a circle. It's going to be a dance around circle. And they may probably dance until the 1 year is over.
Okay. Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Who's funding the action?
No, that's an interesting one. Is she funding this action out of her own personal pocket?
If she's not, it's illegal.
It's completely illegal. If she's not. Interesting. But let me make a few of my points the parallel, because the argument today is, if we say what the Minister of Petroleum is doing is illegal for the reasons they've given, then why didn't they say what the former governor of the Central Bank did, who took out an injunction, was also illegal? Is there a difference? No, my question is... Oh, nobody said it wasn't illegal. Sure. The microphone is so everybody else can hear.
Please, let us be very clear on this. Like I said earlier, she had a right to go to court. It's not illegal. In fact, it's a very legitimate right. It's a legitimate step to take. Rather than taking the law into your hands, because of course you can be sure she has policemen and all that. But she decided to go to come and pay people like us to make some money and go to court. Now, but it's what the court now does with our application that should be of more concern to us. Just like you know that I wasn't fully in support of Sanusi also taking his own step to go and stop people, try to stop the police, which is another impossibility, because you can never stop the police from doing his work. So what she did wasn't illegal. But, and you know again that it is, I don't want to get everything here. However, injunctions, by their very nature, such applications are the ones she made.
Try and keep it in simple English. We're all doing
okay, at the discretion of the judge. That's discretionary. So, for the judge to now listen to her or her lawyer, look at the facts presented to him, using the fact and the law, come to a decision. Okay, I will grant your application. Or, sorry, I can't grant your application. And this circumstance, though I've not read the processes she filed, if it's a question of just stop this probe, because I'm a minister, that's utter rubbish. No judge will entertain that. But if she says they are calling me every day, they don't want me to work, so I want to be free to do my work. So let them call me when they need to call me. The judge can look at that and say, let it be this way, which is what some judges stay under to now make like the kind of ordinary order.
Thank you.
Now,
on around. I'll tell you what I want to do. I have had the honor of sitting up here with both Simon and Miss Evington. It's a great pleasure. I want somebody to come up here and make their point. I want to experience what it is like to sit over there and watch. Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, should I come up? I'm too tall for that place. I'm not big. I find past that guy now. Wait till. Okay, guys. Look when I hear me. Look when I hear me. Okay. All these one are died. I not go on kind of school. And I know my parents spend that kind of money. So now, maybe this one. Forever. Okay, put on it. Now, guys, let's relax. We're Nigerians. A lot of you here, in fact, every person here, you are privileged to be in Nigeria. Don't go back. We've been fighting. Look, some of us will use the term tribal. Forget the tribal. It is derogatory. Whatever you want to use tribe, use ethnic group. I beg. I don't tire. Ethnic group. I beg. For my sake. Okay. I originally had something to say today about the role of the citizen in national security. But I don't forget what I want to talk. So, make I talk and that's it. You see, the point is this. We all can take sides on the partisan level about what is going on. But at the end of the day, we are responsible for ourselves. And the question must always be asked, what are the citizens doing? Somebody from wherever, Singapore, is saying we are criminally patient. That's not charitable. You see, a revolution is a process. I'm standing here. A few weeks ago, there was no speaker's corner in Nigeria. In advanced democracies, we have this. We have started. We are talking. Somebody somewhere may think this is not important. This is historical. Believe it. This is the beginning of something. We are openly saying something. One day I'll be here, you'll be here, we'll be talking, and the police will come and carry somebody away. Because what the person is saying, they're not like her. It will happen. So, be ready. Now, let's look at the issues. I am not going to blame anybody. I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to look at this thing from a special point of view. We have a problem in this country. Somebody was saying somebody should resign because of this or that. But we had a consensus here which said there is a war. I want somebody to give me one example of a leader anywhere who resigned during a war. Yeah, it doesn't happen. You say? Okay, alright. Okay, let's stop here. Is there a responsibility for the citizen to call for accountability? Give it life. It's a question, sir. No accountability in this country. Me and you as citizens, we have civic responsibilities.
There is
one.
There is no responsibility.
Okay, that is for the leadership, right? You have the responsibility as a follower. As somebody being rude, as somebody in democracy.
Let's wipe that premise. There is no democracy here.
Hey, relax.
There's no democracy.
Wait, I understand you. But what is there in that vacuum you just created now?
Chaos.
Oh,
and poverty.
So I come in now and scrap your head and that's fine?
If you have the money.
If I have the money, you're not helping me. And you're not helping yourself. There's a democracy in this country.
Sorry, hello. Sorry, can I ask a question? I just want a point of information. Wait, I need a point of information for you.
Okay, all right.
Point of clarification. What exactly is the point you're trying to make? What exactly is the point that you are trying to make?
Okay.
Because I understand exactly what you're saying.
All right.
But I'm trying to understand what you're trying to say.
Okay. When I came here, I told you,
hour ago.
Yes.
I asked the question an hour ago.
Yes.
What are you all going to do tomorrow? Instead of sitting here
I'm here to answer you.
Wait, no, you're not, because it's a very simple question. The answer is nothing. The answer is absolutely nothing. My question over an hour. The question over an hour ago. Now, a foreign woman standing up. We've come from a country that's had a genocide. We've come from a country that's had 24 years of war in northern Uganda. We have changed ourselves. When are you guys going to stand up together? When are you going to stand up together and start fighting for your own rights? Citizens' rights. That's a citizen's right. What are you talking about? That's exactly what the citizen's right is. Stand up. Stop sitting around talking. Just start making some movement.
Okay.
Make some action.
Okay. That's very populist and I like that.
It's not populist. It's a human right.
Listen. If we are here, listen, you can have as much drink as you want. Focus on why you are here and the debate. If you come here to go away feeling that you can't do anything, is that the reason you come here? I didn't come here to feel like that. I come here to feel empowered. And I'm going to go away feeling empowered. Because I'm going to listen to people who are reasonable. I'm listening to myself. I don't mind. If that is what you call deception, I don't mind. No, there is a purpose for this forum. There is a purpose. This forum is democratic. This forum is about people expressing themselves.
Okay, sir. Let me say something. No. Let me say something. Hello, sister. We Nigerians are peculiar people. And just as the speaker on stage said, these things are not happening in our country. We are just getting used to it. We are peculiar people, one people. See, no matter how many years I'm coming, I will say something. It took Adolf Hitler to stand on a pulpit like this to convince the German to go to Second World War. Wait, I'll just go and read the history. It took Adolf Hitler, something like so. Anybody that started this initiative is starting something. A journey of 100 miles begins with a step. Now we are coming together, no matter where you come from in Nigeria, under this umbrella in Freedom Park, trying to find out what is the problem of Nigeria and come with a solution. I think this is the best initiative. The best you can do is to support this initiative and try and forge ahead. Forget who's right, who's wrong, and forge ahead. Thank you.
Well, I'm going to say something here right now because let me tell you something. About 2 years ago, right, there's a particular body that said Nigerians are the happiest people in the world. And why are we happy? Issues happen, problems happen, wars happen, but yet we sit down around drinking beer and thinking that because it does not affect my family, it doesn't really concern me. Now the issue is this. I agree, it's a step in the right direction. But then, how many steps have we taken? How many of you remember June 12? The 1993 riots? How many remember Occupy Nigeria? The army came out and everybody, to my tents, all Israel. If I should quote the Bible. The most important thing is this. You understand? Because we can still afford to drink beer, because we can still afford to go to clubs, because we still can afford to go to parties and it does not affect our immediate family, we do not care less. That is the truth. The point is that we definitely, one of these days, have to get up, fight for our rights, like Fela said, sorrow, tears and blood. My mom gave a house, my father gave a house, another built house. One thing. So the point is this, one day will be one day. Thank you very much. Can I speak now? Yes, you can. Okay. Let's have some kind of direction. I'm on the podium now. When I finish speaking, if you have questions to ask, you ask me. Whether based on what I've said or any other thing. Madam, please, let me finish this point. So, when she finishes asking her question, I will speak on the issue I want to speak on. Then you can ask your question. That is the only way we can make progress. We don't want to turn it into some kind of rowdy affair. Thank you.
Okay, I just need to say this. Where's the lady? She has a point that Nigerians just like to talk and talk. But the truth is, if Nigerians are going to stand up and begin to fight, you have to ask yourself, what are you fighting for? The average Nigerian is not knowledgeable. If we start a revolution today, the revolution will end and we will not achieve anything because people don't even know what they're fighting for. I think that's my own point. People don't even know what they're fighting for.
Please, look, can I... Hold on. Sorry, sir. It's okay. We are knowledgeable. The point is, average Nigerians are afraid of shots. Average Nigerians, everybody won't go ever. No one finance. But they know what finance. We cannot afford to argue about things here. We cannot afford it. The purpose of what we are here for is to have some kind of ideas and direction. We all can sit down and criticize as much as possible in a way that, we're not personalizing things. We say Nigerians are this, Nigerians are that, Nigerians are this. We know our problem as a nation. As at this moment, I cannot discuss the whole of Nigeria and the whole of Nigeria's problem. I have a focus of why I'm here, and that is what I want to put across. Then you can ask questions on them or things that are related. Otherwise, we'll just sit down at our table and just be talking. So, as I said, the crucial issue today is national security, and my focus is to discuss or to highlight some of the things we as citizens can do. We have cried, we have talked, we have said, Jonathan has failed, Nyako has failed, Tinubu has failed, the whole world has failed, all the people that are able to do the establishment have failed. But I don't think we are going to lie down and die. So if you have failed, are you going to sit down, die? What are you going to do? What exactly is open to you to do as a citizen? Obviously, there is some kind of symbiosis, some kind of relationship, because some of the things you have to do as citizens will also need some kind of government intervention or support to be able to do it. But largely, the issues that I want to look at here are things that we can do as citizens. The lady asked us, what are we going to do tomorrow, after now? And the answer is simple. If you feel agitated enough about an issue as a citizen, you mobilize, you call out others, you move. What are the impediments for us? In our nation, the problem is that there is so much division contrived by the political class. You ask yourself, why is Boko Haram only operating in the northeast? If they were operating throughout the country, they would have been crushed. But they are operating in the northeast because the northeast have a peculiar kind of people who are not, just like when it was operating in the Niger Delta, there are different kind of people. So Nigeria as a whole cannot have that kind of solidarity to deal with the problem, because it's somebody else's problem at some point or the other for the rest of the nation. That is one. Then you also look at the issue of the peculiarity of the environment. If you look at the northeast, I served in Gombe. When I served in Gombe, I was posted to a federal institution. Then I had another school that I was interested in because it was around my area. And I was taking in English. And I was taking class 5 English. We were going to do WAEC. And I went in there, spoke at length. Everybody was quiet. I thought they were enjoying me. And then when I finished, the hands shut up. And I was like, my kid, okay, you speak. And Malam, Baatrenji. I was speaking to the whole class, going to 6 hours, and they don't understand English language. And I'm teaching them English language. So I marched to the principal's office and I was very angry. What is going on here? And he said, sit down. This is what you see here. Don't bother yourself. I've been running for 37 years. Don't start all this over. It happened. So the disparity in the social consciousness of both parts of the country is clear. So
some of the things that's been saying here about, what is going on in the Northeast, we have to understand. We have to understand what is on the ground. For instance, the parents.
Hello. 1 minute.
Why don't I finish? I'll so finish and then or if you forget, you can ask.
Okay, it's not a question, just to add to what you say.
Okay.
I think to round up my own opinion, to round up this discussion, I think the best way to solve a problem is to know what caused the problem. And what caused Nigerian problem started 1956 when late Antanianauru made the motion for independence. I think if we can forge and know what caused this problem started then, please, Mr. Rowe, please, we are done. And please, okay. The law, okay. See us next month. Thank you.
Okay. All right. All right. I'm going to round up now. So what I'm trying to say here in brief is, let us do what we need to do. We need to mobilize. There is need for education, risk awareness education, not just education. There is need for collaboration with the security services. I know that a lot has been said about journalists not doing their job here and there, but the problem with the journalists is that they are not trained, you understand, to do what they should do now in the kind of challenges we are facing right now. You go to, any of the universities, you see somebody reading mass communication and all that, they don't specialize. There is nobody who has specialized in defense reporting or things like that. So there is a lot for us to do. There is a lot the government is also doing in terms of counter-terrorism. They just started. So in this country, unlike elsewhere, we don't have security activists, for instance. We are all political activists. We fought democracy, pro-democracy, this and that. But you cannot pick out one security activist anywhere. So there is a challenge. Combat the problem, combat the hour, combat the men. So you have to stand up and do something on your own. Thank you. Yeah. All right. Let me just answer you. Okay.
Guys, look. It's really important that you understand one basic thing. Nigeria is a country with no ownership. Nobody owns this place. You look at all the streets full of shit, rubbish everywhere. Nobody would pick up any rubbish and put it in a bin. What does that tell you? Nobody gives a shit about this place. Not you guys and not your government. Now, what's going on then? What's going on? Ask yourself the question, because if you don't ask the question, you can't fix the problem. Okay,
Thank you very much.
Iva, one last.
Is the question for me, or it's a comment?
For both speakers.
Please keep it short.
About national security, I have a role to play, but my question again is, why should me be paid with my tax, paid, and the police be paid my tax only for them to be harassing me, and they can't face Boko Haram people? Please, they harass citizens and civilians on the street. They can't address problems. What are we doing about that?
Right. Theo.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, is this a comment? Can I take just one last one? Lest a riot will start. Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, I totally disagree with the last speaker who said that people don't care. This evening, I was trying to come out of a junction. I was in my car. There was a bus. Someone dropped a piece of litter on the road. I wound down my window and I addressed the people in the bus and said, please pick that piece of litter up. And the young people in the bus who were teenagers and below were speaking themselves and said that you that dropped the litter ought to have been picked up by the police. So they came out of the bus, they picked up the litter, put it back in the bus and left.
Every single bloody day, I attack people for not picking up litter they drop on the road. How dare you say nobody cares? How dare you?
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the big microphone. Once again, it's been an incredible evening. This evening, there's a microphone on there.
Okay.
Your microphone is on.
It's off. I'll put it off.
This evening is not over, but the formal part of it is the one I have to round up. I am hoping that when we meet again in a month's time, other people will want to stand up and come and express, just as I have done and just as a few other people have done. Right after I drop this microphone, you can still stand up and say something. But this is the last time for tonight that I will be on stage. I'd like to remind you that we do have a Facebook group page to try and drive ideas and drive subjects we should be talking about and to continue the debates. I have learned from here, one, that the president should not resign, that we should all be helping the government, and it is part of our own responsibility to do as much as we need to do to support the system, whether we like it, whether we don't, whether we like the individuals or whether we don't. And please let us stop this nonsense of blaming the next man as each day passes by, when we ourselves have the opportunity to stand up and say, you know what, if they won't do it, we will do it. I thank you all very much, those who are listening out of here and who are watching. That was not an official gunshot, by the way. That's why I'm still standing.
That's a good one.
The next event will be the last Tuesday of May, and that will be the 27th of May, Children's Day. And I'm sure that a lot more would have happened between now and then. I know people still have opinions, and I'm going to hand over the microphone to the gentleman over here to continue this evening. For now, I say thank you. Good evening.
Even if it means everybody here gets on Facebook tomorrow, has the courage to write down their name, the street that they're going to monitor, and walk down it, so I don't feel like a madman when I walk down the street. And I say to the young boy in the street, or the man there, you know, pick up the rubbish, or clean up pavements in your village.
patrol everywhere, but let's take one street in particular, all of us, and make that our goal for the next year. Are we agreed on that? Right, so tomorrow, let us add our names. Let us add our names to this. And while we are at it, then others can come up with other programs, and we'll see where we're going to go with the next action and what action we'll take. The reason why I say this is because I think we've been subdued as a people. I think that for the last 40 years, somebody has put their boot on our neck and has cowed us. So Nigerians, to a great extent, are cowards, and they're frightened, they're reticent. And they're reticent from the point of view that if I stand up and get shot tomorrow, nothing will happen. If I take an action, nothing will happen. If I do something that is out of a norm, nothing will happen. So let us take this action.
Good evening. Personally, talking about taking action or standing up, last week, usually when I want to cross the major road, I wait for the traffic light to stop the cars before I go. I don't try to find my way in between cars. Yes, no, the drivers don't respect everybody's trying to get past the red light before the green light before it turns to red. So this particular day, I was waiting, and when the red light finally came up, I wanted to cross, and there was a bike coming the opposite way. That means the bike was on a one-way. And I was disappointed because the rider of the bike was a military man. He was actually in his uniform. And I turned and I told him that, why are you taking one way? And the guy was shocked, and he said, who are you to challenge me? And he just stood in the middle of the road for about 2 minutes. And I turned back at him and I nodded and I said, yes. And he looked at me and said, if you were not a girl, I know what I would have done to you. So don't tell me we're in a democratic country at all. Because if I was a guy, I can imagine what he would have done to me. 2 naval officers, 2 naval ratings beat up a civilian for God knows what. So probably if I wasn't a girl, the guy would have beaten me up. So it's not really, I'm not saying we should not stand up, or we should not take responsibility, or we should not take charge. But it is not easy, but we still have to do it. That comes, sorry sir, I stated this scenario because of you, sir. When you insisted that we're in a democratic, we're not. Sir, I live in Bariga, sir. Okay, sir, I live in sir? Okay, I live in a part of Lagos where it's not very sane, like the island or wherever. And I'm used to the streets of Lagos, to the madness of Lagos. We're not in democracy. It's not really military. There's just some, I can't explain it. And it's because we're practicing borrowed system of government. We have imported democracy because the people that gave us democracy did not tell us that it was not a guarantee for good governance. And we're copying democracy hook, line, and sinker. I think that's the problem.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there's something fundamental that we have to discuss right now. And what I'm going to tell you right now is the fact that we personally, all right, we are all corrupt. We go to government offices, we want to get a document, we want to get a contract or something. At the end of the day, we are willing to bribe. We go to the passport office. They tell you that to take a Nigerian passport is 8,000 naira, but you're willing to pay 20 or 30,000 naira to get your passport in one day. You go to the gate man in a particular office, tells you that you cannot go in, and you're ready to give that guy maybe 100 naira or 200 naira to allow you to go in and see the gate man. The policeman stops you for doing something illegal, but yet you're ready to bribe the policeman so that it will allow you to go scot-free. You or we have cars, you don't have extra tires, all right, or the proper papers. We're ready to bribe the VIO to let you go scot-free. We're not willing to take responsibility. We're not willing to take anything. All we believe in is that the government is bad. But then, if the people are bad from the roots, we do not have any moral justification to blame the government, because a corrupt person cannot point fingers at people that you believe that are corrupt. And that is why I have to say it this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, if we want to really make a change, let the change start from us.
Thank you. Madam, where is the Madam Democracy? Listen, I know what you're talking about. I feel the same way. Okay, a lot of us feel the same way. We believe that we have civil rule but not democracy, because most of the contents of democracy are not available to the ordinary people. We understand that, but nobody said democracy is perfect. If you remember what Winston Churchill said about democracy, it's the worst kind of government outside others, to paraphrase him. In essence, you as a citizen, you should be working your democracy. If your democracy is not giving you what it should be giving you, you should be working it. We in this country, we have been very complacent. That is why somebody can talk the way he talked there. We have our problems. Leadership is the key problem. We understand that. But leadership is doing that. They are behaving that way. They are not delivering because we are not pushing them to deliver. Democracy ought to make you push them to deliver because you have your role. There is a chain. If you are not doing your own bit, the other part will not do their own bit. People, there's no accountable government. That's what I was asking him. There's no accountable government if people are not asking for accountability. Today, you can get a lot of civil society organizations. They say they are doing this, they are doing that, they are doing that. By the time you look at it, they are just raising money for themselves. They will write to all the organizations abroad. We are fighting this in Nigeria. We are fighting this genital mutilation, or this one, human rights, blah, blah, blah. Yes. Look at the OCLO. Look at the OCLO. It's an example. When Olusegun Obasanjo was heading the CLO and they started, we all knew what they were doing. They were going to Kirikiri. They were writing reports. We were all there. I used them to fight for a housing course in Yaba. The Havemore Road course, I fought for it with the CLO and Shelter Rights. They were there. But suddenly, when democracy came, everybody went away. You begin to look at the CLO as if, is this the same organization I know before? That is the problem. We, the people, ourselves, are not doing what we ought to do. We complain a lot. Yeah, Boko Haram. You see, we need to do our own bit. That is why we are here. The Speaker's Corner is to encourage people, is to motivate people, is to mobilize you. To talk is good. Every other democracy you've seen operating today as an advanced democracy is started by them talking. They talk and talk and talk themselves into action. You have to talk yourself into action. What we don't want is to get into a situation where we lose it all. I said this. Let me be brief about this one. There are 4 key issues that has judged our establishment and how they resolve national issues. The first one is the Civil War. If you look at the Civil War, my perspective is different. No, don't worry. No. I want to mention this. It's important. There are 4 key issues that have judged the way that our establishment answers to national crisis or national security situations. I'm not saying they are the only ones, but they are the key ones. They are the ones that are emblematic of the problem. First, the Civil War. If you look at the Civil War, the first is the Civil War. If you look at the Civil War, the way it was handled, it was fought for only 3 years. Don't worry. Let me finish, please. If you look at the Civil War, the way it was fought for 3 years. We fought that war without borrowing. We fought that war without keeping our country as a battleground for big power struggles. We did that because the military boys, even though they were so ambitious, they were young and all that, they had the presence of mind to use wise heads to run things. At that point,
That is your problem with, yes, it's my perception. Anything I say is an opinion. Okay? So that was solved. That was solved at that point in time. The second one was June 12th. And the third one is the Niger Delta crisis. The one we have not been able to have a consensus of establishment to solve it is the Boko Haram issue. You ask yourself why. Thank you.
It's focused and again. 1 minute, please.
1 minute, yeah.
Yeah, 1 minute. Yeah, good evening, everyone. At the Oracle of Delphi, Socrates said, "Man, know thyself." I think I want all Nigerians for us to know who we really are and our purpose in life. There is a saying in life that if you need something, you work and you get it. But in Nigeria, it's like if you need something, you take and you take and you take. Until we Nigerians understand the purpose of living for the next man, like the White brothers, Albert Einstein, great-minded. So the problem of Nigeria started from the mind. The mind of most Nigerians is being corrupt to accumulate wealth. Example, if my brother is going for a governor, my thought is, boss, go there, go thief money. If you come back, say you poor, you are not my friend. I expect my brother, as he's there, I will become a millionaire, whether I watch it or not. It's a mindset. And I think we try to go back to the basic, which is primary school. I'm a secondary school dropout at JSS3 because I get it right in primary school. I can speak. I spoke in Unilag, Unibel. I spoke at Yaba Tech. Different organization, different. Wait. Let me learn. I'm signing out. What I want to say now is, if we can work on our minds and understand that we are living for the next man, I think Nigeria will get it right. Thank you.
So the question is, are we Nigerians or are we tribes? Are we Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa? Are we Nigerians? We want to be Nigerians, but the majority believe in Nigeria.
No, I believe in Nigeria, the Nigeria identity, and I believe that each one of us has a contribution to make towards that. Earlier on, I was speaking with my very good friend, Egbo Bimbo, and I know that some of the realities that confront us shows the fact that we need to go our separate ways. But I'm making a clarion call for the sake of the black race. We have to get it right. And until we embrace the rule of law, the efficacy of truth, and the beauty of neighborhood, then we might definitely be creating a wallow up where we all sink in. I believe in one Nigeria, but I believe that it has to be done on fair basis, mutually beneficial terms, so that we can prove to the world that the black man, just like Fela said, is the harbinger of what should be the truth. So I strongly believe that each of us must contribute to this question. And when we do that, beyond this speaker series, we must all see the fact that we're all part of this. And then we can be finding ourselves in the land of the promised land. Thank you.
I'll try to be very brief. I met a couple of people in the diplomatic community who gave me a couple of facts. For certain countries, Nigeria is the least requested posting, but when they get here, Nigeria is the most requested posting. I hope you heard that correctly. Nigeria is the least requested posting, but when they get here, Nigeria is the most requested posting. That's number one. I need you to think about that. The second thing I'm going to, Nigeria is the least requested posting by foreign countries when they're coming here to come and work for the embassies. But Nigeria is the most requested posting. They want to come back here and some of them actually stay here. I need you to think about that. Now, the other aspect which I need you to pick up very, 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 very clearly is what is really going on. I tend to stand back and take what I refer to as a helicopter view of why are certain things happening in Nigeria. We all argue here about why things are going on. Let me make this very simple point. On every map that is strategic across the world, Let me say that again. Every map that is strategic across the planet, where a country like, say, China, America, European Union, the UK, Nigeria is a very big red dot. Nigeria is a what? Very big red dot. A country of interest. Let me say that again. A country of interest. You are 170 something million odd people. You represent two things. You represent a population that can purchase. You also represent a population that can produce. A population that can what? Purchase, and a population that can produce. To purchase means that they need to get across goods to you that you can buy and they will make profit from. For you to produce means that your cost of production must be kept at a low level. Now the questions that you need to ask are, what are the things they will do to make sure these two things happen? That is all I will leave you with. Good evening.
Another fifth columnist. Oh, sorry, conspiracy theorist. Conspiracy theorist. Okay, this is a result of one of those repostings. A second coming. A result of a second coming.
So I'm going to sit down. Hello, hi. And I really hope I say something that makes sense here. And not try to sound intelligent, but just say what comes out of my heart. Interestingly enough, I had a situation about 2.5 weeks ago, a small gathering, and I said in that gathering, the question was, in our time, do you think we will see the Nigeria we desire? First and foremost, I'm not quite sure what we each desire, if it's one idea or if it's many different ideas. But anyway, I decided to answer that question with a yes and a no. Because I've looked at us, and I thought, you know, if you're talking about intelligent people, creative people, we have what it takes in terms of manpower, and we also have the resources. The know-how, we have the money, we can always bring it in, learn, and move on. But I want to agree with someone over there, and I don't want the gentleman that just spoke to get offended. I agree with him solely because, but mine is just slightly different. We don't have the will. We have everything but the will. And the will is not I want to. The will is not that I want to, because yes, we all want to. The will is what somebody else said a while ago. The will is, am I going to stand in line and wait my turn? If it takes 3 weeks to go and register for something, am I going to wait the 3 weeks, or am I going to give that bribe? That's the will. Do you get what I'm saying? It is not about, oh, I want to. Yes, we all want to. But do you have that will to do the right thing? No, you don't. And that is why we're still where we're at. That's one of the reasons why we're still where we're at. The second thing I want to say, it's a bit roundabout. It's a bit roundabout, but you know, you were saying something earlier about half of a yellow sun. Well, there was a question about half of a yellow sun. We weren't allowed to watch it because of sentiments. Yeah, screen it because of sentiments. Now, this is what I found quite interesting. You know, I've been screaming and harping about the fact that history is no longer taught in the classrooms. And I was telling some of my friends that the reason why history cannot be taught in the classrooms is because we are very sentimental, very touchy people. You cannot tell the truth about what's happening in the north. You cannot tell the truth about any of the previous regimes. You just can't. Oh, you're picking on the Yorubas. Oh, you're picking on the Edo people. Oh, you're picking on so you're not going to be able to tell the truth because you're so sentimental. That's one of the challenges. And this is the last thing I'm going to say. And it's very, very roundabout. But I found it, you know, I was talking to a South African lady 2 nights ago, and we were talking about Nigeria and why it just seems not to be able to move forward. And she said something, that I thought was, interesting, and I didn't like it though. She said, is it because, you know, in Africa it's always hot. Is it the weather? So maybe that's why we didn't really do anything in terms of infrastructure. And I said to her, if you think about it, civilization started here. The pyramids are found on the African continent. To date, all over the world, people still cannot decipher how the pyramids were made. That is the kind of people we were, but unfortunately we've been disrupted once, twice, thrice, uncountable times that we do not know what we could have been. And unfortunately, because we're not talking about our history, we do not know where we're coming from, how could we possibly know where we're going? You have to get beyond sentiment. If you've invented, if you came up with the pyramids that we still do not understand, what do you think we could have come up with, or we can still come up with? So we need to know our history, no matter how ugly, no matter how bad it is. We need to embrace it. We need to embrace the Ahmad Johas. I'm sorry, that is our history. This is our history. You are busy talking about Greek mythology. You are busy talking about Roman mythology. You watch their movies. You go and you watch Jack whatever. You watch all these things. You watch Zeus, all of it. But when we start talking about Shango, you say, oh, no. How can you do that? You do not despise your beginnings. You do not despise your beginnings. How will you ever know where you're going? That is something that you need to pick up. That is something that we all need to pick up. Last thing I would say, somebody wants to know 1, 2, 3, 4 steps and what we're going to do, what is it we're going to do, and 4 steps how we're going to achieve it. That's what somebody wants to know.
Thank God for second comings.
Bob Manuel.
You have other business to attend to, please.
Be careful, don't play that thing while I'm speaking. It's not good for my heart. Yes. This, after such passion, what I'm saying might be a bit of cool water. Yes. In the first place, I feel that we seem to forget. Ivor, I didn't speak while you were on stage because of the money you're owing me. I didn't want us to get into an argument. Yes. Yes. Now we seem to. No, that's a matter for us. A symposium. Yes. We seem to forget, ladies and gentlemen, that we actually started off as a company. That's Nigeria. You know? And the CEO left and he just put a surrogate there, and we've never been able to sort ourselves out since then. A surrogate. Yes. But having said that, I have a particular interest in Ivor's question, which is about the half of a Yellow Sun film that never got to show for whatever reason. Phil informed us that it was because they didn't get proper censorship and registration and all of those other things. But I work in that industry, and I know that it may not have been enough reason to stop the film, because there is a way that those things are done. It may not have been enough reason. Yes. And that is what actually gave me the concern that I have, that I'm expressing now. And it's in the form of a question. And it is this: why has the Igbo man not ever been the president of this country? And why does it seem so hopeless that he will ever become the president of this nation? Thank you.
The first president of Nigeria was an Igbo man. Azikiwe was president. No, I'm not saying technically. He used one word, president. He used one word, president. Technically, Azikiwe was the first president.
Thank you for heralding me. I am not going to listen to him. Okay. I have not been listening to him. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I really haven't marshaled my thoughts. Theo Lawson just forced me here. But I'd like to just say a few things about what some people have said. First of all, I'd like you all to understand that I am an actor and I stand alone against Nollywood. And I know what I've suffered. I stand against Nollywood, not because I don't like Nollywood. I don't like the name, but I like the concept. And I don't like the way it is being practiced. So I speak against it and I suffer segregation. I don't mind because people are beginning to understand what I've been saying since 1993. Now, I want the lady who spoke about Nigerians not doing anything, not coming together as one to fight our common problem. I want all of us to understand that Nigeria is a peculiar nation. We are not one people, whether we like it or not. History is coming out how the British polarized us, how the British deliberately put us in the situation we are in today. And because we are not one people, we cannot come together and conquer that problem. So, what do? We have to negotiate. We have to negotiate our togetherness. We have to negotiate our togetherness. I don't think it's the sham that's going on now that's going to solve the problem. I think if we had listened to Nahoro before he died, if we had listened to the Nadeco people, what did you call them now? Committee for National Conference, CNC or something like that. If we had listened to them and had a proper national conference, maybe we will negotiate our togetherness or we'll negotiate our separation. It will be better for us. There is no way. I do not see it happening. Hunger alone cannot make us fight because we cannot fight on hungry stomach. These people know what they are doing. They put you, they make you hungry so that when you want to go and get food, your brother man becomes your enemy. That's what Bob Marley said. When you now go to get food to eat, your brother becomes your enemy. So where are you going to get the strength to fight? Where are you going to get the strength from? But we must understand that to understand our problems, we have to look at it carefully, very carefully. And sir, again, I'd like you to understand that I can proudly say that I'm one Nigerian that does not commit any crime, if you know what I mean. I do not break laws of my country. I obey traffic rules. I do everything that I'm supposed to do. I pay my tax, even though I don't get any return for it. I still pay my tax and I still do. When I give policemen money, it is because Nigerian system says, we dey see you for movie. Hey, this and that. I say, okay, boys, go and drink Coke. But if my papers in my vehicles are correct, I have a driver's license. If I don't have it now, it's because I've not been given, but I have a paper to cover it. So, if I fight this battle alone, what impact, how much impact will I make as a single person? The reason I am poor today is because I have refused to be hands up in the air. By Nigerian standard, I'm a very poor man. For being poor. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think Nigeria will not go anywhere if we do not negotiate our togetherness. Thank you.
Put your hands up in the air. 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 Put your hands up in the air.
So we need to negotiate here. How much will you give me for microphone now? Wait. No, we want to negotiate for the microphone now. Give me your bag microphone. Listen, this man is from abroad. He wants to use 419 on me. Give me the bag I need to test the product and make sure it works okay. Ladies and gentlemen, you know, sometimes you need to stir up a fire to get the embers to flame up. Nigeria needs to be stirred up a little bit. Yeah? The basic problem is something that everybody is very happy to ignore. The basic problem is the poor of Nigeria. The poor are the majority of the population. Most of you guys are not poor, so you don't give a shit. Most of you don't know what poverty is. I'm sorry. Excuse me. Anyway, let me continue. Aside from the hecklers, if Nigeria deals with poverty, it would empower the nation. It will actually create an ownership of this place. You will find people who will be prepared to pick up the rubbish because they will love the country. If you don't have people loving the country, nobody's safe. Make people love the country. Give them something to live for. Give them something to live for. Be prepared to pay some taxes and make sure that those taxes are administered towards getting hospitals and schools and other amenities that make you a nation. If you don't have electricity, if you don't have hospitals, if you don't have schools, and you have endemic poverty, you're not safe and you don't have a country. Forget all the big talk that you guys talk. You don't have the fabric of a nation. Take care of the poor.
Some people in Nigeria believe that that's the way they were made. How do you talk to them?
Those people can be educated the same way as there is poverty in Brazil. There's poverty in India. There's poverty in many other countries in the world. I've been to quite a few of them. They attend to those countries attend to those problems much better than Nigeria, I've got to say. We don't care about the poor. And I can see from the faces here, the reactions I'm getting. Nobody cares here. You're not excited about this. You're not excited about this. You need to be excited about doing something, about lifting up the people. Lift them up. If you lift them up, what you'll do, you'll create a middle class. And a country without a middle class cannot build anything. The middle class builds a nation. I do know that Nigeria had a middle class.
Yeah.
I think the middle class was deliberately destroyed. Essentially, I mean, we were all impoverished, so we cannot actually do anything. Back in the sense, right now there's a big gap between the haves and.
You mean the have too much?
No, there's a have too much, yes, but those who aspire, who try, professionals right now, are having a difficult time getting by.
Yeah.
So they can't even think about anything else but paying salaries.
Let me ask you, what class does it belong to? Upper class, middle class, or lower class? Ask him for me.
We know. Can I usurp the mic for just a few minutes? Okay. All right, listen, guys, listen up. We are Nigerians, yeah? We're sitting down here and we believe we have an army out there who we have no knowledge of. But the average age in the army is like 20. 18, 19 is the entry age into the army, maybe 17. So the average soldier is about 20 years old, apart from the long-serving officers. And you throw these guys into a battle zone with an unknown army, unknown enemy, who dressed like you sometimes, so you cannot distinguish who's enemy, who's foe, who's friend. And what happens? What kind of backup do you give them? One, they are fed, their rations are horrible. You throw them without logistics, adequate logistics, into battlefronts they're not prepared for. Now, we have our cases where some of his soldiers have been caught and beheaded. I mean, our soldiers are being beheaded by the Boko Haram. And you show this to other soldiers, and these guys who have died in the course of your war are not celebrated. They're just totally forgotten. They're just statistics. What do you expect from our soldiers? What do you expect them to do? Do you want them to go out there and fight Boko Haram for you when there's an unappreciative nation? So we really have to understand what we're asking from the government or from our soldiers. We don't know who the enemy is. We're not deploying intelligence because maybe the government in place isn't equipped with this. I don't know. But I think basically it comes back to using intelligence and fighting this thing properly from the brain, with the brain and heart. Sorry, next speaker.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And I want to look at somebody who spoke about insisting on what we want, about the Nigerian values, about keeping the environment clean. I give you a scenario. I went to a bank, used the ATM card on a weekend, and the machine seized my card. I got there on a Monday, got to the customer care unit, and I told them what happened here, and they started telling me that the card had been destroyed, I can't get the card back and all that. But it's my property. You should give it back to me. I insisted I wanted it. Then I left a point, went to the managers, and when they discovered this man was not, I went there in suit, but this man is displaying the street language here. The man took me aside and was trying. I said, please don't speak Harvard English to me. I want my card back. He said, yeah, you know your card has been destroyed and for security purposes. And yes, but it's my property. I paid for it. Give me back my card. I won't pay you 5 naira for you to insult me. We should sit for good service. I said, give me back my card. And they went in. Then he said, okay, we've sent it to your headquarters, to your branch, and for security purposes. I said, yes, I have relationship with my bank. I'll call my account officer now. And he said, Oga, please can I have my card? And he gave my card back to me. When I saw the card, it was intact. I went back outside just to check if it was broke. I used the card, it was intact. That's an average Nigeria, and people in the bank already were looking at me. At some point, I saw people nodding.
Hi.
Many people have been told that who have walked away. So we need to keep
we on tonight at 11 o'clock.
You want to say something?
Yes.
Well, a change must come, I have to say.
Wait. We have someone. Wait.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Someone from the UK that wants to say something. So, Carol, are you ready to say something right now? Say something to
I am. This is Carol Uchene Ikijiani. I'm originally Nigerian and I'm based in the UK. I plan to come back to Nigeria because a change must come. I've always said, I love what you're doing. This is a place where everybody can express themselves. I've always said that the black African man has the black African man in bondage. We are a country blessed with natural resources. What my main interest is that we have to have a better system, creating a welfare system, infrastructure better, so that our people can stop suffering. We have the wealth, natural resources. We should be helping the world, not the world helping us. And we must stamp out corruption. I'm as a recording artist in the public eye, I think that we cannot complain from the UK. We all have to come back home and help make change, because knowledge is power and our people are suffering. Music is a powerful tool, and we should at least use music to get the youth off the street to create jobs. And I just wanted to say thank you so much for having such a place where we can focus on this, and sooner or later those in power must hear the people speak.
Thank you, Carol.
Thank you. Thank you. Raymond, are we on tonight at 11?
Yeah, we're on.
Thank you. I'll speak to you then, but it's wonderful what you're doing, and I'm so happy. I can't wait to come and stand on that stage and speak myself. Maybe I can be the next president of Nigeria. I will pay everybody for all the pain caused.
Thank you, Carol.
Thank you. Speak later.
Yeah, speak later.
Bye.
Bye. All right.
Hello. Back again. I think we're going through an evolutionary process, and there's a story I want to mention about during the Civil War. Sir, it involves a friend of mine. His father came back from the UK, ran over back to fight the war. He didn't actually fit in because he was a doctor, trained in the UK. He was also a British Army officer, and he joined in on the Nigerian side. During the war, just outside Auchi, we were supposedly driving the Biafrans back, and he was always left out of things. One day he saw a recce, all the big guns were in town, and he thought, what are they doing here? Then they took off into the bush and left him there. So he thought, party, they're going to party and they're not going to take me with me, or take me with them. So he followed them into the bush. When he got there, they wanted to kill him. His fellow officers wanted to kill him. And one of them, the maddest of the lot, who you can most probably imagine who he was, stood up and vouched for him. Now what these young officers, not one of them over 30 years of age, were doing was they were sharing the loot, the money, from selling the quartermaster stores off to the Biafran army. So that means the treason, they were willing to kill their own troops, sell off their own goods to the enemy, a supposed enemy, and then they were willing to kill their fellow officer. These men went on to rule this country. The only one amongst them who I can gather who wasn't there was OBJ. He was still in India. But that's the level of evil that you are facing, and we have faced for the last 50 years. Now within that 50-year period, I often say to people that, and it annoys them, is that I am dead, because I'm 51 years of age, and that is the average life expectancy of a Nigerian. So bearing that in mind, that 72% of our population are 35 or under. I'm not saying that this forum is a waste of time. I'm saying that our focus should be on training, and I always believe on training children. And the main focus should be on that history, that understanding that outside there, I don't know whether you want to call it Ile-Ife, the people there are not supposedly Yoruba Gongon, as we say, because they came from somewhere else. The people in here in Lagos are not Yoruba, as we like to say. It was an Ishon colony at some stage. We don't know our history. By giving us our history, we have self-esteem. But by focusing bulk of what we are doing, the bulk of what we say here on our youth, we will bring back a future. When I turn around to a kid and I say, when I was 13 in this town, and I'd make my way back to what was Abulioja, pardon my pronunciation. Pardon my pronunciation. At 12, Abulioja, okay, you should hear the way you speak English. At 12 o'clock, all right? No, all right? At 12 o'clock, the only thing I knew was that the last bus, or the second to last bus, which was on a Shinawa, outside from Abalande at about 10:30, that in 1977, it was air conditioned. Now the reason why I'm taking this roundabout route is because in that, okay, can we focus on the real thing and not the little things? It's a big problem in this place. And it comes down again to low self-esteem. The reason why I can look at that bus, 1977, that was air conditioned after Festa, is because that man who was in the bush, who wanted to put the gun into the fellow officer's head, took it all away from me. He denied you, I should say, to the youth. He denied you education. He denied you what my father had free of charge in 1952, when the British only got it in 1944. He denied you the free health that my mother got in 1957, that the British got in 1945. That was all the difference. It's all about evolution, but the only way that change can come, I believe, is not with old dogs. You can't teach him new tricks. It's by focusing solely on our youth.
And now for the last speaker. Last speaker.
She's here. There's another thing.
No, people here have been looking and smiling and criticizing since. So, I mean, no, you're coming here. No. You're the vote of thanks. Well done, Nigerians on that side. Understand something. Understand. No, understand what I was trying to do. It was we're closing this thing, so people who have not had a chance or who have not felt like. No, some people are shy. Like me, I'm very shy. I'm a very shy person.
I said I don't have anything to say, and I just said it.
Ladies and gentlemen, our last speaker for tonight, Chinwe.
I will sit down. I will sit down. Kennedy, I'm not as heavy as you are. Thank God for that. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll tell you a little story about the Nigeria I know. When we were little, once upon a time, when we were little, when we were 4 or 5 years old, there were no cell phones. 1842. There were no cell phones, and all the kids ran around in the street. Wherever you got hungry, you got fed. If you misbehaved, woe betide you. Because if you got punished in one home, you would get home and be punished again. We thought our parents had special powers. They could bend time. They could see through walls. But there was this little thing. There was the rotary phone, which you had to dial and call a telephone operator, and they used it a lot. And guess what? It worked. Now, as this continued, we all had dreams and imaginations, great big imaginations of what we were going to become, what we were going to do, how we were going to do it. We all saw ourselves basically as human beings. Then, that which we're not supposed to talk about happened. The Civil War. And that idyllic childhood was truncated. Now the war ended. It still wasn't very bad. There were still quite a few of us mixed up. The kids I subsequently grew up with in Enugu were from different parts of the country. We all spoke the same kind of language. We all went to the same schools. We all did the same things. And on and on and on and on. I went to university, graduated, and then I had to fill a form. And in the form, there was a little line that said, state of origin. I filled my form. I was in the civil service. I filled my form and I submitted it. And the person in charge of the confidential department called me back and gave me another form and told me that I had not filled the correct state of origin. I wondered. I said, but this is my state of origin. And he said, no, this is not your state of origin. Your state of origin is where your parents were born. I said, oh, okay. In that case, I have 2 states of origin. He says, no, you don't understand. Where your parents were born. And I said, yes. One parent was born there, the other parent was born here. So where exactly do you, and I was born somewhere else. Where exactly do you want me to fill? Okay, let's put it this way. Where your grandfather comes from. Where is your father's hometown? Yes. Right back to the hometown. This is a hometown I cannot find my way around in. Yes, I have made it a point of duty to know the culture of my people, but I cannot find my way around my hometown. Where I have lived the longest is Lagos, but I cannot claim Lagos as my hometown. The sooner we stop this whole nonsense of where do you come from? I come from right here. That is all I want to say. That is when we will start seeing ourselves as one. Thank you.
Iva, come up.
Right, just before we go, please remember that we're trying to grow this thing. We're trying to grow it not just in Lagos. Hopefully we'll be able to do this elsewhere. But this is a starting point. The Facebook page that we have created is where we're going to get all your ideas. Who wants to talk, what you want to talk about, what you think we should be doing, and how we can grow this. So please do try and visit it. It's Speakers Corner Lagos on Facebook. Again, I think we've had a successful transmission live, and you've heard people who have called in from as far as wherever they've been. It's been really exciting for us, and we hope to see you again.
I'd like us to edit the Facebook page from Speakers Corner Lagos. Let's remove Lagos. It's about Nigeria. Let's not let people tell us that it's all Southwest or whatever propaganda. It's a Nigeria. Just remove Lagos. Full stop. Thank you, bro.
That suggestion is noted. In the meantime, before we do that, and I agree, I don't disagree with you, Kemi, but before we do that, because we're hoping that we will be able to differentiate Speakers Corner in Abuja, Speakers Corner Port Harcourt, further down the line, and that's right, Mr. Lawson. I think this falls way above my pay grade. Way above it. I think you need to take this question, and the discussion is, it should be Speaker's Corner Nigeria, but just happens to be taking place in Lagos.
Can we all identify different basket mats on the internet? This is the only basket mat on the internet I know, and we own him here in Lagos. So if he chooses to, I know, but is it Calabar people don't listen? They don't talk much. They don't have forum like, they come and talk in Lagos. He's a Calabar man. Okay, Akwabam. Are you Nigerian?
Last time I checked.
What's your state of origin?
Cross River State.
Ah, you see? I just say Calabar man. You say he's not a Calabar man. He's Nigerian. Freedom Park worldwide. I mean, also Speaker's Corner worldwide. I mean, look, you see things. It has to grow organically. It has to start from somewhere and get big enough to. Yeah, the point's taken. Yeah. Why did you say that now?
Because I understand English better than you.
You should not say the point is taken. Why? I beg. I don't like all these people that just cause problem. You are close, Joe. You want to start talking. Thank you.